life often feels overwhelming. Days pass, tasks pile up, and it's easy to feel like you're stuck just reacting instead of moving forward. The truth is that productivity is not about doing more, it's about doing what truly matters consistently. It's about taking control of your time, your energy, and your decisions so that each day moves you closer to the life you want. This audiobook will guide you through the 5 pillars of a productive life, showing how small, deliberate actions can create lasting change. You'll learn how to clarify your direction, strengthen your discipline, and manage your energy so that nothing important slips through the cracks. You'll discover ways to protect your focus, make better decisions, and align your actions with your core values. Each principle is practical, easy to apply, and designed to help you build routines that support growth, confidence, and purpose. By the end, you won't just understand productivity, you'll feel ready to take action every day. You'll know how to measure progress, maintain consistency, and turn deliberate daily habits into real results. This is not about quick fixes or motivation that fades in an hour. This is about building a system for your life that works for you, helps you grow, and gives you control over your future. Stick with this guide, apply what you learn, and you'll find yourself moving through each day with focus, energy, and purpose, steadily creating the life you've been aiming for. Chapter 19. Clarify your life direction through intentional daily choices. Most people do not lose their way in one dramatic moment. They drift. They wake up one day and realize years have passed, and they are busy but not fulfilled, active but not progressing, tired yet unsure why. This does not happen because they are weak or lazy. It happens because life direction is rarely lost through a single bad decision. It is lost through thousands of small unintentional choices made on ordinary days. Direction is not something you discover once and keep forever. It is something you create and protect through what you choose to do every day. A productive life begins with clarity, not loud clarity, not dramatic declarations, quiet clarity. The kind that guides how you wake up, how you speak, how you work, how you rest, and how you respond when things do not go your way. Direction is shaped in moments that seem too small to matter. What you eat when no one is watching, how you spend the first hour of the morning, whether you tell the truth when it is uncomfortable, whether you follow through when motivation fades. These choices form the path long before you see the destination. Many people wait for clarity before acting. They wait to feel inspired. They wait for confidence. They wait for certainty. That waiting creates confusion. Direction comes from movement, not the other way around. Clarity grows when you act with intention, even when the path is not fully visible. The Stoics understood this well. They focused on what was within their control and released attachment to outcomes. They did not demand perfect knowledge before taking the next step. They committed to the next right action and trusted clarity to follow. Intentional daily choices are the bridge between who you are now and who you are capable of becoming. They are not about doing more. They are about choosing better. They are about deciding what deserves your energy and what does not. Every day you wake up with a limited supply of time, focus, and effort. How you spend these is a vote for the kind of life you are building. You do not need a perfect plan. You need alignment between your values and your actions. Many people confuse direction with goals. Goals are useful, but they are not the same as direction. Direction is the general course you commit to regardless of obstacles. It is how you choose to live, not just what you want to achieve. You can miss a goal and still stay on course. You can achieve a goal and still feel lost. Direction answers a deeper question. Who am I becoming through the way I live today? To clarify your life direction, you must begin by observing your current choices without judgment. Most people avoid this step because it reveals uncomfortable truths. They say they value health but skip sleep. They say they value family but give their best energy to screens. They say they want growth but resist discomfort. Awareness is not self-criticism. It is self-respect. You cannot change what you refuse to see. Start by noticing patterns, not for one day, but over a week. Notice when you feel most alive and when you feel drained. Notice what you do when you are stressed. Notice what you avoid. Notice what you repeat even though it brings no progress. These patterns are signals. They are not moral failures. They are information. Use them. Direction becomes clearer when you define what matters enough to protect daily. Values are not words you admire. They are standards you enforce through action. If something truly matters to you, it shows up in your calendar and your habits. You do not need many values. Too many create confusion. Choose a few that feel steady and non-negotiable. Examples include honesty, effort, learning, responsibility, or service. Choose values you can live daily, not ideals that sound impressive. Once values are clear, choices become simpler. Not easier, but simpler. When faced with a decision, ask which option aligns with the person you want to be. Not which option feels best right now. Not which option avoids discomfort. Alignment often feels uncomfortable at first because it requires discipline. Over time it brings peace because your actions and beliefs are no longer at war. Intentional choices require pause. Most poor decisions are made quickly. Not because speed is required, but because reflection is avoided. A brief pause before action creates space for direction. Before responding to a message, before agreeing to an obligation, before reacting emotionally, pause. Ask whether this choice moves you closer to or further from the life you are building. This pause does not slow life down. It prevents regret. Morning and evening are powerful anchors for direction. How you begin and end the day shapes everything in between. Starting the day without intention invites distraction. Ending the day without reflection invites repetition of mistakes. You do not need complex routines. You need consistency. Begin the day by deciding what matters most today. End the day by reviewing what worked and what did not. This simple practice sharpens direction over time. Many people feel lost because their days are filled with other people's priorities. They react instead of lead. They confuse activity with progress. Productivity without direction leads to exhaustion. Direction without action leads to frustration. Intentional daily choices balance both. They ensure that effort is applied where it counts. There will be days when motivation disappears. On those days, direction matters more than feelings. Feelings are temporary. Direction is a commitment. The Stoics trained themselves to act according to principle, not mood. They understood that waiting to feel ready is a form of avoidance. Discipline is choosing what matters most even when it is uncomfortable. Fear often clouds direction. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of choosing wrong. Fear becomes powerful when it is vague. It loses power when it is named and challenged. Ask what you are afraid of losing. Ask whether that loss truly outweighs the cost of staying where you are. Often the fear is not of failure but of effort. Direction demands effort. Comfort demands stagnation. Intentional choices also require letting go. You cannot move forward while holding on to everything. Some habits must be released. Some relationships must be redefined. Some expectations must be lowered. Letting go is not weakness. It is clarity. Holding on to what no longer fits your direction creates internal conflict. Peace comes from alignment, not accumulation. Direction is strengthened by boundaries. Boundaries are decisions made in advance. They remove the need to negotiate with yourself in moments of temptation. Decide how much time you will give to distractions. Decide what behavior you will not tolerate. Decide what standards you will hold yourself to even when no one is watching. These decisions protect your energy and reinforce your identity. Identity plays a central role in direction. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Habits reflect identity. When you see yourself as someone who acts with intention, your choices begin to match that belief. Identity is not declared, it is demonstrated. Each intentional choice reinforces the belief that you are someone who leads their life rather than drifts through it. Mistakes will happen. Direction does not require perfection. It requires correction. When you notice misalignment, adjust without drama. Do not waste energy on guilt. Guilt focuses on the past. Direction focuses on the next step. Ask what can be done differently tomorrow. Improvement is built on honesty and action, not self-punishment. Real-world application begins with simplicity. Choose one area of life to bring under intentional control. Morning routine, work focus, physical health, communication. Choose one. Define one small daily action that reflects your desired direction. Commit to it for 30 days. Do not add complexity. Consistency builds trust with yourself. For example, if direction includes growth, commit to reading 10 pages daily. If direction includes health, commit to walking daily. If direction includes presence, commit to device-free meals. Small actions done daily reshape direction more effectively than dramatic plans abandoned quickly. Track your choices. Not obsessively, honestly. Write down what you do and how it aligns with your values. Writing creates clarity. It turns vague intentions into visible patterns. Over time, you will see progress not just in results, but in confidence. You begin to trust yourself because you keep promises to yourself. Intentional choices also improve resilience. When challenges arise, direction provides stability. You may not control circumstances, but you control response. A clear direction reduces anxiety because you know what matters regardless of outcome. Success becomes effort aligned with values, not external approval. People will not always understand your choices. Direction often requires saying no to good things to protect great ones. Approval is fleeting. Self-respect lasts. You live with your choices long after others forget them. Choose accordingly. As days pass, direction compounds. One good choice rarely changes a life. Hundreds of aligned choices do. Momentum builds quietly. Confidence grows naturally. You stop seeking motivation because action creates it. The life you want stops feeling distant and starts feeling lived. In the end, clarity is not a gift, it is a practice. A daily commitment to act with intention, to choose effort over ease when necessary, to align behavior with values, to adjust when needed, to take responsibility for the direction of your life without blaming circumstances or waiting for permission. A productive life is not about doing everything. It is about doing what matters. Direction gives meaning to effort. Without it, even success feels empty. With it, even struggle feels purposeful. Every morning you are given a choice. Drift or direct, react or decide, repeat or refine. The future is not shaped by one decision made someday. It is shaped by the choices you make today. Choose with intention. Protect your direction. Build your life one aligned action at a time. Chapter 20. Build unbreakable self-discipline with consistent, simple daily actions. Self-discipline is often misunderstood. Many think it is about force, pressure, or living a rigid life stripped of joy. That belief turns discipline into something to resist instead of something to rely on. True self-discipline is quieter than that. It is not loud motivation or extreme control. It is the steady ability to do what needs to be done, especially when no one is watching and nothing feels urgent. It is the inner structure that holds your life together when emotions fluctuate and circumstances change. Most people fail at discipline because they aim too high too fast. They try to change everything at once. They rely on emotion to carry them forward. Emotion fades. Discipline stays. The goal is not intensity. The goal is consistency. A simple action done daily reshapes character more deeply than rare bursts of effort ever could. Discipline grows when actions are small enough to repeat and meaningful enough to matter. Unbreakable discipline begins with understanding how habits are formed. Every habit follows a simple pattern. A cue appears. An action follows. A result is felt. The brain remembers what works and repeats it. This process happens whether you are aware of it or not. Discipline is not about creating habits from scratch. It is about redesigning existing patterns so they work in your favor instead of against you. Many people wait until they feel ready before acting. That delay is costly. Readiness is a result of action, not a requirement for it. The disciplined person acts according to commitment, not feeling. This does not mean ignoring emotion. It means not allowing emotion to dictate behavior. Feelings change hourly. Values remain stable. Discipline aligns behavior with values even when emotions argue otherwise. The Stoic approach to discipline is grounded in control. You control your actions, your effort, and your response. You do not control outcomes, opinions, or timing. When discipline is built around what you can control, it becomes sustainable. When it is built around results alone, it becomes fragile. You may not control whether a day goes perfectly, but you control whether you show up and try. Consistency is the foundation, not perfection. Missed days will happen. Discipline is not broken by a missed action. It is broken by quitting. The moment you stop returning to your commitment, discipline weakens. The moment you resume, it strengthens. Progress depends less on never failing and more on refusing to stop. Simple daily actions are powerful because they remove friction. Large goals create resistance. Small actions invite participation. If a habit feels heavy, it will not last. Discipline grows when effort feels manageable. For example, committing to 5 minutes of focused work is more powerful than planning an hour you avoid. 5 minutes repeated daily becomes 30, 5 minutes a week. Over months it compounds. The mind often resists discipline by exaggerating effort. It tells you an action will be exhausting before you begin. This resistance fades once movement starts. The hardest part is starting. Discipline is trained by starting even when resistance appears. Once you experience this repeatedly, confidence grows. You learn that discomfort is temporary and manageable. Environment plays a crucial role. Discipline is not only internal strength, it is also smart design. If distractions are within reach, discipline is constantly tested. If supportive cues are visible, discipline feels natural. Place tools where they are easy to access. Remove temptations where possible. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. You do not prove discipline by struggling unnecessarily. Routines support discipline by reducing decision fatigue. When actions are decided in advance, willpower is preserved. Decide when you will work, exercise, reflect, and rest. Do not negotiate daily. Negotiation drains energy. Discipline thrives on clarity. When the mind knows what is expected, resistance decreases. Reward matters, not in the form of indulgence, but acknowledgement. The brain responds to progress. Notice when you follow through. Recognize effort even if results are not immediate. This reinforces behavior. Discipline grows when effort feels worthwhile. Ignore this and habits fade. Many people sabotage discipline by attaching identity to failure. They miss a day and conclude they lack discipline. This belief becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. Discipline is a skill, not a trait. Skills improve through practice. Every attempt strengthens the muscle. Every return builds resilience. Accountability strengthens discipline, not through pressure, but through honesty. Track actions, write them down. Numbers do not judge, they reveal patterns. Awareness invites correction. When actions are visible, excuses lose power. You begin to respond to facts instead of stories. Discipline also requires patience. Results often lag behind effort. The body and mind adapt gradually. Quitting early is common because progress feels invisible. Trust the process. Consistency produces change even when you cannot yet see it. Faith in effort is essential. Rest is not the enemy of discipline. Exhaustion is. Discipline includes recovery. Without rest, consistency breaks. Sleep, nourishment, and pauses support effort. A disciplined life balances work and renewal. Ignoring this leads to burnout, not growth. Discipline should serve life, not dominate it. It creates freedom by reducing chaos. When habits are aligned, mental space opens. You spend less time debating and more time doing. This clarity reduces stress. Discipline simplifies life by narrowing focus to what matters. One of the strongest discipline builders is starting the day with a small win. Complete a simple task early. Make the bed. Stretch. Read a page. This signals control. It sets a tone of follow-through. Momentum builds naturally from there. Evening discipline matters too. How you end the day shapes the next one. Prepare what you need for tomorrow. Reflect briefly. Close the day intentionally. This reduces friction and increases follow-through. Discipline grows through identity reinforcement. Each time you act consistently, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who keeps commitments. This belief changes future behavior. You no longer ask whether you will act. You assume you will. Identity becomes self-supporting. External motivation fades. Internal standards endure. Build discipline around who you choose to be, not what you hope to feel. Feelings are unreliable. Standards are stable. There will be days when discipline feels heavy. On those days, reduce the action but keep the habit. Do less, not nothing. This maintains continuity. Discipline weakens when routines break entirely. Unbreakable discipline is not dramatic. It is quiet repetition. It is showing up again. It is choosing the next small action even when progress feels slow. Over time, these actions shape character. Character shapes destiny. A disciplined life is not restrictive. It is focused. It allows you to move with intention instead of reacting to every impulse. It builds trust with yourself. That trust becomes confidence. Confidence becomes calm strength. Discipline does not remove struggle. It gives you a way through it. It keeps you steady when motivation disappears. It anchors you to your values when conditions shift. Build discipline slowly. Protect it fiercely. Respect its limits. Strengthen it daily through simple actions you can repeat. Over time, you will not need to force discipline. It will become part of who you are. Chapter 30. Strengthen mental resilience by managing emotions under pressure. Pressure reveals what training hides. When life feels calm, almost anyone can appear composed. When demands pile up, plans fall apart, or expectations collide, the mind reacts before reason has time to speak. This is where mental resilience matters most. Not as a trait you are born with, but as a skill you build. Resilience is the ability to remain steady when emotions surge, to respond rather than react, and to keep your judgment clear when tension tries to take control. Emotions are not the enemy. They are signals. Fear alerts you to risk. Anger points to violated boundaries. Sadness highlights loss. Excitement fuels effort. Problems arise when emotions take the steering wheel instead of the dashboard. Under pressure, the untrained mind treats every emotion as an order. Mental resilience is learning to listen without obeying blindly. The Stoic approach begins with a simple truth. You cannot stop emotions from appearing, but you can choose how long they stay and how much power they hold. An emotion is a physical and mental response, not a command. It rises, peaks, and falls. When you fight it or judge it, you extend its life. When you observe it calmly, it passes faster. Pressure often triggers automatic reactions learned over years. Some withdraw, some lash out, some panic internally while appearing calm. These reactions feel instant, but they are habits. Habits can be reshaped. The first step is awareness in the moment. When pressure hits, notice the physical signs. Tight shoulders, shallow breathing, racing thoughts. These are early signals. Catching them early prevents escalation. Breathing is one of the fastest tools to regain control. Under stress, breath becomes short and shallow, signaling danger to the body. Slow, deliberate breathing sends the opposite message. Lengthening the exhale calms the nervous system. This is not theory, it is biology. A few controlled breaths can create enough space to think clearly. Thoughts under pressure tend to become extreme. The mind predicts failure, judgment, or loss. These thoughts feel convincing because emotion fuels them. Resilient thinking questions these assumptions. Ask what is actually happening right now. Separate facts from interpretations. Facts are observable. Interpretations are stories. Most stress comes from stories, not facts. For example, a mistake at work is a fact. The belief that it defines your worth is a story. Pressure grows when stories are mistaken for reality. Mental resilience is the habit of checking these stories before acting on them. Time perspective matters. Pressure shrinks attention to the present moment as if it is permanent. Remind yourself that moments pass. This situation will change. Emotions will shift. Decisions made in panic often create more problems than the original challenge. Slowing down is not avoidance. It is strategic restraint. Resilience also depends on language. The words you use internally shape emotional intensity. Saying this is unbearable creates panic. Saying this is difficult but manageable creates strength. Language does not deny reality. It frames response. Choose words that support stability. Preparation builds resilience before pressure arrives. Anticipate situations that challenge you emotionally. Meetings, conflict, deadlines. Plan how you want to respond. Decide in advance what behavior aligns with your values. When pressure hits, follow the plan instead of emotion. This reduces decision load when clarity is hardest. Control of attention is central. Under stress, attention scatters. Focus on what you can influence right now. One task, one response, one step. This grounds the mind. Trying to solve everything at once overwhelms it. Resilient people accept discomfort as part of growth. They do not interpret discomfort as danger. Pressure often signals importance. Avoiding it leads to stagnation. Meeting it calmly builds strength. Each time you stay composed under stress, confidence grows. You learn that pressure does not break you. Emotional regulation improves with physical care. Lack of sleep reduces emotional control. Poor nutrition increases irritability. A tense body amplifies stress. Mental resilience is supported by physical stability. Caring for the body is not separate from managing the mind. Silence is another powerful tool. Under pressure, many feel the urge to respond immediately. Silence creates space. It allows emotions to settle and thoughts to organize. You are not required to react instantly. Taking a moment is a sign of strength, not weakness. Resilience also means allowing emotions without becoming them. You can feel anger without acting angrily. You can feel fear without retreating. Naming the emotion reduces its intensity. Saying internally, "I feel frustrated," creates distance. It reminds you that emotion is an experience, not an identity. Comparison weakens resilience. Under pressure, comparing yourself to others increases self-doubt. Focus on your own standards. Your task is to act according to your values, not to outperform someone else. Reflection after pressure matters. Review how you responded, not to criticize but to learn. What triggered the emotion? What helped? What did not? This feedback loop strengthens future responses. Resilience is built through repetition and reflection. Forgiveness is part of resilience. You will not handle every situation perfectly. Holding on to regret drains energy. Learn and move forward. The goal is improvement, not flawless control. External events are unpredictable. Internal response can be trained. This is where freedom lies. You may not choose circumstances, but you choose conduct. That choice defines character. Calm does not mean passive. It means deliberate. A calm response can still be firm. It can still set boundaries. It simply does so without losing control. Over time, managing emotions under pressure becomes easier, not because pressure disappears, but because your response becomes practiced. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. This is growth. Mental resilience creates trust in yourself. You know you can face difficulty without collapsing. This trust reduces fear of future challenges. You approach life with steadiness instead of avoidance. Pressure is inevitable. Breakdown is optional. Strengthening mental resilience is choosing to train for reality rather than wishing it away. With practice, emotions become guides, not rulers. The mind becomes a place of clarity rather than chaos. Under pressure, you remain grounded, thoughtful, and capable. Chapter 14. Design productive routines that support focus, energy, and balance. A productive life is not built on intensity alone. It is built on rhythm. When days lack structure, energy is wasted deciding what to do next. Focus is scattered reacting to interruptions, and balance slowly disappears without notice. Productive routines are not strict schedules meant to control every minute. They are supportive systems that reduce friction, protect energy, and create space for meaningful work and proper rest. When routines are designed well, effort feels lighter because the mind no longer fights chaos. Many people resist routines because they fear losing freedom. In reality, the absence of routine creates a different kind of prison, one ruled by distraction, fatigue, and constant mental negotiation. Freedom comes from knowing what needs to be done and having the energy to do it without confusion. A good routine does not limit choice. It removes unnecessary choices so attention can be used where it matters. Focus is fragile. It is easily broken by noise, notifications, and constant switching between tasks. Routines protect focus by deciding in advance when deep attention is required and when lighter work is acceptable. Without this separation, everything competes for attention and nothing receives full effort. Designing routines means respecting the limits of the human mind. Focus is strongest when demands are clear and boundaries are firm. Energy follows patterns. It rises and falls throughout the day. Ignoring this leads to frustration and burnout. Many try to force productivity during low-energy periods and then waste high-energy moments on trivial tasks. Balance begins by observing when your mind feels sharp and when it feels dull. High-energy times should be reserved for demanding work. Low-energy times can be used for maintenance tasks or rest. This alignment reduces resistance and improves output. Morning routines set the tone for the day, not because mornings are magical, but because they are less contaminated by external demands. A simple, consistent start signals direction. It does not need to be elaborate. It needs to be intentional. Waking up and immediately consuming information pulls the mind outward before it has stabilized. Starting with a grounding action creates control. This might include light movement, quiet reflection, or reviewing priorities. The purpose is not productivity for its own sake, it is mental readiness. Transitions matter. Moving from one activity to another without pause drains energy. Routines include transitions that allow the mind to reset. A brief walk, a few breaths, or a moment of stillness can prevent fatigue from accumulating. These pauses are not wasted time. They preserve focus for what comes next. Work routines benefit from clear entry points. Starting work without a defined first task invites procrastination. Decide in advance what the first action will be. This removes hesitation. Momentum builds from clarity. When work begins smoothly, focus follows. Balance requires boundaries. Without them, work expands endlessly and rest shrinks quietly. Routines define when work ends. Stopping work at a consistent time protects mental health and improves long-term performance. Rest is not a reward for exhaustion. It is a requirement for sustained effort. Evening routines help the mind disengage. Without a closing ritual, stress carries into rest. Preparing for the next day, reflecting briefly, and disconnecting from stimulating input allows the nervous system to settle. This improves sleep quality and emotional stability. Flexibility is part of a strong routine. Rigidity breaks under pressure. A good routine adapts without collapsing. When a day goes off course, return to the next anchor point. Do not abandon the entire structure. One missed block does not erase the system. Balance also means including recovery deliberately. Physical movement, quiet time, and social connection are not optional extras. They support focus by replenishing energy. Neglecting these leads to diminishing returns. Productivity without recovery becomes self-defeating. Routines should reflect values. A schedule filled with tasks that conflict with what matters creates inner tension. Align routines with priorities. If learning matters, schedule it. If health matters, protect time for it. What is not scheduled is often neglected. Simplicity strengthens routines. Overloading the day creates pressure. Choose fewer priorities and execute them well. Cluttered routines drain focus. Clear routines support it. Review routines regularly. What worked last season may not work now. Energy changes. Responsibilities shift. Adjust without judgment. A routine is a tool, not a rule. Designing productive routines is an act of self-respect. It acknowledges limits and works within them. It replaces chaos with intention. Over time, routines reduce stress because decisions are fewer and outcomes are steadier. When routines support focus, energy is conserved. When they support balance, life feels sustainable. Productivity becomes calm and consistent rather than frantic and exhausting. The goal is not to do more. It is to live better through structure that serves rather than controls. Chapter 50. Set clear goals that guide effort and measure progress. Effort without direction leads to fatigue, not progress. Many people work hard every day yet feel stuck because their energy is scattered across unclear aims. Clear goals give effort a destination. They turn motion into movement. They prevent wasted energy and replace confusion with purpose. A goal is not a wish or a vague desire. It is a decision about where you are going and how you will know you are moving. Most frustration comes from unclear expectations. When goals are fuzzy, progress feels invisible. You may be improving, but without measurement, the mind assumes failure. Clear goals remove that uncertainty. They create a reference point. You know what you are working toward, and you know how to evaluate your actions honestly. Goals begin with honesty, not what sounds impressive, not what others expect, what truly matters to you now. Many people chase goals borrowed from other lives. This creates inner resistance. When a goal is aligned with personal values, effort feels meaningful even when it is difficult. When it is misaligned, discipline feels forced. A useful goal answers 3 questions. What am I trying to improve? Why does it matter to me? How will I know I am making progress? Without these answers, motivation fades quickly. The mind needs clarity to stay engaged. Large goals overwhelm when they are not broken down. The brain struggles with distant outcomes. It responds better to near actions. Clear goals translate long-term direction into short-term steps. Each step should be specific and realistic. This reduces hesitation and builds momentum. Measurement matters because it turns effort into feedback. Without measurement you guess, with it you learn. Measurement does not mean obsession. It means awareness. Tracking progress shows what works and what does not. It allows adjustment before frustration builds. Many avoid setting clear goals because they fear failure. Vague goals feel safer because they cannot be missed. This safety is costly. It prevents growth. Failure is not the opposite of progress. Avoidance is. Clear goals invite accountability. Accountability sharpens focus. Time boundaries strengthen goals. Without time, goals drift. A time frame creates urgency without panic. It encourages prioritization. It reminds you that time is finite and effort should be intentional. Clear goals also protect against distraction. When opportunities appear, you can evaluate them against your aims. If something does not support your goal, it becomes easier to decline. This reduces overload and regret. Effort guided by clear goals feels different. You are less reactive. You are less influenced by short-term emotion. You act with purpose. Even on difficult days, you know why you are pushing forward. Progress is rarely linear. Clear goals help you see trends instead of fixating on daily fluctuations. One slow day does not define the journey. Measurement over time reveals direction. This perspective builds patience. Reviewing goals regularly keeps them alive. Goals forgotten become irrelevant. A brief weekly review reconnects effort with purpose. Ask whether actions align with aims. Adjust if needed. This keeps progress intentional. Goals should challenge without overwhelming. If a goal feels impossible, it discourages action. If it feels too easy, it fails to inspire growth. The right goal stretches ability while remaining achievable through effort. Internal goals build stronger motivation than external ones. Focus on behaviors you control rather than outcomes you do not. You cannot control approval or timing. You can control consistency and effort. Goals built on controllable actions reduce anxiety. Clarity also reduces self-criticism. When goals are clear, you evaluate behavior objectively. You focus on what to improve rather than attacking yourself. This supports long-term discipline. Clear goals do not limit flexibility. They provide direction while allowing adaptation. If circumstances change, goals can be refined. Changing a goal thoughtfully is strength, not weakness. Purpose grows when progress is visible. Small wins reinforce belief. Belief fuels effort. This cycle sustains momentum. A life without clear goals is reactive. A life with them is intentional. Goals do not guarantee success, but they guarantee learning. They turn time into investment rather than expense. Setting clear goals is an act of respect for your time and energy. It signals that your effort matters. When goals guide effort and measure progress, work gains meaning. You stop wandering and start advancing. Direction replaces doubt. Progress becomes something you can see, feel, and build upon daily. Chapter 6e: Take full responsibility for choices, habits, and long-term outcomes. A productive life rests on one difficult truth that many try to avoid. You are responsible for your life as it is today, and for the direction it takes tomorrow. This idea can feel heavy at first, but it is also freeing. Responsibility is not about blame or guilt. It is about ownership. The moment you take full responsibility, you reclaim control. Until then, power is always placed outside yourself. Most people divide responsibility. They accept credit for success and assign causes for failure elsewhere. Circumstances, upbringing, timing, other people, bad luck. These explanations may contain truth, but they weaken growth when used as anchors. Responsibility does not deny reality. It simply asks a different question. Given what is true, what can I control next? The Stoics taught that peace begins when you focus only on what depends on you. Your choices, your effort, your habits, and your response. Everything else exists beyond command. When responsibility is placed fully on what you can influence, energy stops leaking into complaint and frustration. It is redirected into action. Habits reveal responsibility more clearly than intentions. You may intend to live well, but habits show what you truly prioritize. Habits are not accidents. They are repeated choices. Even habits formed unconsciously continue because they are not challenged. Taking responsibility means acknowledging that what you repeat, you choose, even if the choice feels automatic. This awareness can be uncomfortable. It removes excuses. It demands honesty. Yet it also removes helplessness. If habits are chosen, they can be changed. If outcomes are shaped by behavior, behavior can be adjusted. Responsibility restores agency. Many avoid responsibility because they associate it with harsh self-judgment. That approach backfires. Responsibility without compassion leads to shame. Responsibility with clarity leads to improvement. The goal is not to punish yourself for past choices. The goal is to learn from them and choose better next time. Long-term outcomes are built quietly. Rarely do they arrive suddenly. Health declines through neglect. Skills fade through disuse. Opportunities disappear through delay. These are not dramatic events. They are slow accumulations. Responsibility means recognizing this pattern early and intervening while change is still manageable. Blame is tempting because it feels relieving. It provides an explanation without requiring effort. Responsibility feels demanding because it asks for action, yet blame never improves the future. Responsibility does. Every time you choose responsibility, you invest in tomorrow. Language reflects mindset. Saying things happen to me removes agency. Saying I respond to what happens restores it. Small shifts in language create large shifts in behavior. Speak in terms of choice even when options are limited. This reinforces ownership. Taking responsibility does not mean controlling everything. It means controlling what is yours. You did not choose every circumstance, but you choose how you deal with it. This distinction prevents resentment and builds resilience. Consistency strengthens responsibility. One honest choice followed by another builds trust with yourself. Over time, this trust becomes confidence. You know that you will face reality directly and respond deliberately. This steadiness reduces anxiety. Responsibility also applies to thought patterns. Repeated negative thinking shapes perception. You may not choose every thought, but you choose whether to believe it. Challenging unhelpful thoughts is an act of responsibility. It protects mental clarity. Responsibility improves relationships. When you own your reactions, conflict becomes manageable. You stop waiting for others to change first. You address what you contribute. This does not mean tolerating harm. It means responding with intention. Avoiding responsibility often appears as waiting. Waiting for motivation, waiting for clarity, waiting for the right time. Waiting is a decision. Responsibility replaces waiting with movement. Even small action is better than stalled intention. Mistakes are inevitable. Responsibility changes how you treat them. Instead of denial or self-attack, you extract lessons. You adjust behavior. You continue forward. This approach turns failure into feedback. Daily reflection strengthens responsibility. Briefly review choices. Ask what aligned with your standards and what did not. This is not about perfection. It is about awareness. Awareness leads to correction. Responsibility also means choosing effort over comfort when needed. Comfort feels good short-term. Effort builds strength long-term. Responsibility recognizes this trade-off and chooses wisely. When responsibility becomes a habit, life simplifies. You stop arguing with reality. You focus on action. You accept outcomes without bitterness because you know you acted with integrity. Taking full responsibility is not a burden. It is a declaration of strength. It says that regardless of circumstances, you will act with intention. You will learn. You will adjust. You will not surrender control of your life to excuses or chance. This mindset builds a quiet confidence. You trust yourself to face what comes. You no longer need to blame or justify. You focus on improvement. A productive life is built by those who own their choices, shape their habits, and accept responsibility for long-term outcomes without fear. This ownership creates freedom. It allows you to live deliberately instead of reactively. Responsibility is not something you carry. It is something that carries you forward. Chapter 7 would improve daily decision-making through reflection, learning, and adjustment. Every day is shaped by decisions that seem small in the moment, but powerful in accumulation. What you focus on, what you delay, what you tolerate, what you pursue, and what you avoid all add up quietly. Most people think their life is determined by a few major choices, but in reality it is built by hundreds of ordinary decisions repeated daily. Improving decision-making is not about becoming perfect or never making mistakes. It is about learning faster, adjusting sooner, and choosing with greater awareness each day. Poor decisions are rarely caused by lack of intelligence. They are caused by haste, emotion, fatigue, and unexamined habits. When life moves quickly, decisions are made automatically. The mind reaches for familiar patterns because they require less effort. This saves energy in the short term but creates stagnation in the long term. Reflection interrupts this autopilot. It creates a pause between impulse and action. In that pause, better choices become possible. Reflection does not require long hours or deep analysis. It requires honesty and consistency. A few quiet minutes at the end of the day can reveal patterns that would otherwise remain invisible. What went well today? What did not? What decision moved life forward? What decision created friction? These questions are not meant to judge. They are meant to inform. Learning begins when you stop defending your choices and start examining them. Many people protect their ego by justifying poor decisions. They explain why something could not have been done differently. This protects self-image but blocks growth. Improvement begins when you replace justification with curiosity. Ask what you can learn rather than who is at fault. Mistakes are valuable when they are reviewed calmly. Without reflection, mistakes repeat. With reflection, they become instruction. The same challenge can either trap you or train you depending on how you respond afterward. The goal is not to avoid mistakes completely. The goal is to avoid repeating the same ones unconsciously. Daily decision-making improves when you separate outcome from process. A good decision can lead to a poor result due to factors outside your control. A poor decision can sometimes appear successful by chance. Focus on the quality of thinking rather than the result alone. Ask whether the decision was thoughtful, informed, and aligned with your values. Adjustment is where growth becomes visible. Reflection without adjustment becomes rumination. Learning without change becomes theory. Adjustment means making small corrections based on what you observe. It might mean altering a routine, changing how you respond to stress, or choosing a different approach next time. Small adjustments made regularly prevent large failures later. Emotion plays a strong role in decision-making. When emotions run high, judgment narrows. Under stress, the mind seeks immediate relief rather than long-term benefit. Improving decisions requires recognizing emotional states before acting. Naming the emotion creates distance. You can feel pressure without letting it dictate your choice. Time pressure often leads to shortcuts. Not every decision deserves deep analysis. Some require speed. Others require care. Learning to distinguish between the two is part of skillful living. Important decisions benefit from delay. Giving yourself space to think reduces regret. Feedback accelerates learning. Feedback can come from results, from others, or from self-observation. Ignoring feedback slows progress. Welcoming feedback strengthens decision-making. This does not mean accepting every opinion. It means listening carefully and evaluating objectively. Writing supports reflection. Putting thoughts on paper clarifies thinking. It reveals contradictions and assumptions. You do not need polished language. You need honesty. Writing helps the mind slow down and process experience more effectively. Patterns matter more than isolated events. One poor decision does not define you. A repeated pattern does. Reflection helps identify these patterns. Once seen, they can be addressed. Awareness is the first step to change. Improving decisions also means reducing decision load. Too many choices exhaust the mind. Simplifying routines and standards preserves mental energy for important decisions. Decide once what matters and follow through consistently. Learning requires humility. You must accept that your first answer is not always the best one. This openness allows growth. Rigidity blocks improvement. Flexibility strengthens it. Adjustment should be practical. Do not aim for dramatic change. Aim for slight improvement. Even small improvements compound over time. The goal is progress, not perfection. Decision-making improves with rest. A tired mind chooses poorly. Sleep, nutrition, and breaks are not luxuries. They support clear thinking. Caring for the body supports better choices. Over time, reflection, learning, and adjustment create wisdom. Wisdom is not knowing everything. It is knowing how to respond better based on experience. Each day becomes a teacher rather than a test. A life without reflection repeats the same lessons. A life with reflection evolves. When you learn from each day and adjust accordingly, decisions improve naturally. You become calmer, clearer, and more deliberate. Daily decision-making shapes destiny quietly. Improving it does not require dramatic change. It requires attention, honesty, and willingness to adjust. When reflection becomes a habit and learning becomes intentional, progress becomes steady. Each day builds upon the last. Choices grow wiser. Life becomes more aligned. Chapter 80. Protect time by eliminating distractions and prioritizing meaningful work. Time is the one resource that cannot be stored, borrowed, or replaced. Once it passes, it is gone without negotiation. Most people do not lose time through major events. They lose it in fragments. A few minutes here, a brief distraction there, a habit of checking, a moment of avoidance. These fragments add up quietly until days feel full yet unproductive. Protecting time is not about doing more. It is about defending what matters from what does not. Distraction is rarely accidental. It is designed. Modern life constantly competes for attention. Alerts, messages, noise, and endless options pull the mind outward. Without conscious boundaries, attention becomes reactive. The day is spent responding rather than creating. Protecting time requires recognizing that attention is valuable and vulnerable. Meaningful work demands presence. It cannot be done well in fragments. When focus is broken repeatedly, quality suffers and effort increases. You feel busy but unsatisfied. Prioritizing meaningful work means creating conditions where attention can remain steady long enough to produce value. The first step is recognizing what truly matters. Not everything deserves equal effort. Some tasks move life forward, others simply maintain motion. Without clarity, everything feels urgent. With clarity, priorities emerge. Meaningful work aligns with long-term goals and values. It contributes to growth rather than mere activity. Distractions often masquerade as relief. When work feels challenging, distraction offers escape. This relief is temporary. It postpones discomfort while increasing future pressure. Learning to sit with effort builds strength. Avoiding effort weakens focus. Eliminating distractions begins with environment. The mind follows cues. If distractions are visible, they will be used. Removing unnecessary stimuli reduces temptation. Silence notifications. Designate spaces for focus. This is not about extreme isolation. It is about intention. Time boundaries protect energy. Decide when focused work begins and ends. Without boundaries, work bleeds into rest and rest becomes restless. Clear start times reduce procrastination. Clear end times prevent burnout. Prioritization is an act of respect for time. Each day contains limited hours. Trying to do everything leads to shallow results. Choose a small number of important tasks. Complete them fully. This approach builds momentum and satisfaction. Urgency often disguises importance. Many tasks demand immediate attention but offer little value. Meaningful work may not shout. It requires deliberate choice. Learn to distinguish between what is loud and what is valuable. Saying no protects time. This is difficult because it risks disappointment or conflict. Yet agreeing to everything dilutes effort. You cannot honor every request and still honor your priorities. Saying no to lesser demands allows yes to what matters. Attention improves with practice. Focus is a skill. It strengthens when trained. Begin with short periods of undivided attention. Increase gradually. Do not expect immediate mastery. Consistency builds capacity. Multitasking weakens performance. It fragments attention and increases errors. One task done fully takes less time than many tasks done poorly. Single tasking feels slower initially but produces better results. Rest supports focus. A fatigued mind seeks distraction. Proper rest restores attention. Protecting time includes protecting recovery. Working longer hours does not always produce more. Often it produces less. Review how time is spent. Awareness reveals leaks. Notice patterns of avoidance. Notice when focus is strongest. Adjust accordingly. This is not about control. It is about alignment. Meaningful work often feels challenging. That challenge signals growth. Discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is a sign to stay present. Learning to work through discomfort builds resilience. Protecting time also means protecting mental space. Unresolved commitments create distraction. Close loops. Finish tasks. Clear clutter. A clear environment supports a clear mind. Technology can support focus when used intentionally. It can also undermine it when used habitually. Decide when and how to engage. Do not let it decide for you. Time protection is not rigid. It adapts. Some days require flexibility. Return to priorities when disruptions occur. One interruption does not ruin the day. When time is protected, work gains depth. You engage more fully. Results improve. Stress decreases because effort aligns with purpose. A life spent reacting feels rushed. A life spent prioritizing feels steady. Protecting time is choosing creation over consumption. It is deciding what deserves attention. Meaningful work builds fulfillment. Distraction drains it. By eliminating what fragments attention and prioritizing what matters, time becomes an ally rather than an enemy. You stop chasing hours and start shaping them. Chapter 9c. Develop physical energy through sleep, nutrition, movement, and recovery. Physical energy is the foundation that supports every effort you make. Without it, discipline weakens, focus fades, emotions intensify, and motivation becomes unreliable. Many people try to solve productivity problems with mindset alone while ignoring the body that carries the mind through each day. This creates imbalance. The body is not separate from performance. It is the system that makes performance possible. When physical energy is low, even the strongest intentions struggle to survive. Energy is not something you wait for. It is something you build deliberately through daily care. Sleep, nutrition, movement, and recovery are not separate habits. They work together. Neglect one and the others suffer. Support them consistently and energy becomes stable rather than unpredictable. Sleep is the starting point. It is not a luxury or a reward for hard work. It is a biological requirement. Without adequate sleep, the brain loses clarity, emotional control weakens, and decision-making declines. Short nights accumulate silently. You may adapt to feeling tired, but performance still suffers. Sleep restores the nervous system. It consolidates memory. It regulates mood. Protecting sleep protects every other area of life. Quality matters as much as quantity. Irregular sleep times confuse the body. Consistent schedules support deeper rest. Late stimulation keeps the mind alert when it should be settling. Creating a calm transition into sleep improves recovery. This does not require perfection. It requires intention. Treat sleep as essential work, not wasted time. Nutrition fuels effort. Food is information for the body. It influences energy levels, focus, and emotional stability. Skipping meals or relying on processed convenience leads to fluctuations. Energy spikes and crashes, creating consistency. Eating regularly and simply supports steady output. You do not need extreme rules, you need awareness. Notice how different foods affect energy and mood. Choose what sustains rather than what distracts. Hydration matters more than many realize. Mild dehydration reduces concentration and increases fatigue. Drinking water regularly supports physical and mental function. This simple habit is often overlooked but has immediate impact. Movement activates energy. The body is designed to move. Prolonged stillness dulls circulation and stiffens the mind. Movement does not require intensity. Walking, stretching, and light exercise restore alertness. Regular movement improves sleep quality and emotional balance. It releases tension stored in the body from stress. Many associate movement with appearance rather than function. This mindset discourages consistency. Movement is maintenance. It keeps systems working. It improves posture, breathing, and confidence. When movement is framed as care rather than punishment, it becomes sustainable. Recovery completes the cycle. Constant effort without recovery leads to depletion. Recovery is not inactivity alone. It includes mental rest, emotional release, and physical relaxation. Quiet moments allow the nervous system to reset. Without recovery, stress accumulates and energy declines. Overstimulation blocks recovery. Constant noise and input keep the mind alert. Creating space for silence supports restoration. This might be a short break without screens or a few minutes of calm breathing. These moments are small but powerful. Physical energy is influenced by stress management. Chronic stress drains energy even with good sleep and nutrition. Learning to slow the body under pressure preserves strength. Calm breathing, gentle movement, and pauses reduce the toll of stress. Consistency matters more than extremes. Occasional intense effort cannot compensate for daily neglect. Small daily choices shape energy over time. Going to bed slightly earlier, choosing nourishing food, moving a little more, resting intentionally. These choices compound. Energy also improves when you listen to the body. Pushing through exhaustion leads to injury and burnout. Resting when needed prevents setbacks. This is not weakness, it is intelligence. Physical energy supports emotional resilience. When the body is cared for, emotions stabilize, irritability decreases, patience increases. You respond rather than react. This strengthens relationships and decision-making. Energy influences self-discipline. When energy is low, habits break easily. When energy is stable, discipline feels natural. Caring for the body supports consistency without force. You do not need perfect routines, you need reliable ones. Start with one improvement. Protect sleep, add movement, improve meals gradually, allow recovery, build slowly. Physical energy is not about peak performance every day. It is about having enough strength to meet daily demands without collapse. It is about sustainability. A productive life requires a body that can support effort calmly and consistently. When sleep is protected, nutrition is simple and regular, movement is daily, and recovery is respected, energy becomes dependable. With dependable energy, everything else becomes easier. Chapter 100. Practice focused thinking to solve problems with clarity. Clear thinking is the cornerstone of effective problem solving. Life constantly presents challenges that demand attention, yet most people react with scattered thoughts and incomplete analysis. Focused thinking transforms mental noise into deliberate understanding. It is not about thinking harder or faster. It is about thinking with direction, attention, and purpose. When the mind is focused, solutions emerge naturally instead of being forced. Clarity is cultivated, not discovered by accident. It requires practice, patience, and intentional structure. Distraction is the enemy of clarity. When the mind drifts between tasks, ideas, and worries, it cannot form coherent connections. Thoughts float without direction, and problems seem larger than they are. Focused thinking begins by creating conditions for attention. This may involve physical space, timing, or removing digital noise. Interruptions fragment cognition. Protecting uninterrupted periods allows the brain to operate at full capacity. Structured thinking improves clarity. Random reflection rarely solves complex issues. Break problems into components. Identify the elements that matter. Separate facts from assumptions. By isolating variables, the mind reduces overwhelm and creates manageable segments. Focused analysis turns large challenges into sequential steps. Each step builds understanding and reduces uncertainty. Observation precedes judgment. Many people rush to conclusions. They interpret too quickly and act on incomplete information. Focused thinking pauses at observation. Gather accurate data before deciding what is true, what is known, what is uncertain. Decisions based on facts are far more reliable than those based on emotion or habit. Questions drive focused thinking. Asking the right questions illuminates paths that were invisible before. Instead of asking why this happened, ask how it can be improved. Instead of questioning fairness, ask what can be done next. Questions orient the mind toward solutions rather than complaint. They provide structure to reflection and prevent wandering thoughts. Prioritization sharpens mental clarity. Not every problem deserves equal attention. Some issues require immediate intervention. Others require observation. Identify the problems that will produce the greatest benefit when solved. Focus attention accordingly. This prevents energy from dissipating on minor concerns and ensures that action aligns with outcomes. Mental discipline supports focused thinking. Training the mind to remain on a single topic develops endurance. Start with short periods of attention on one problem without distraction. Gradually extend the duration. Like physical strength, cognitive focus grows with consistent exercise. Avoid multitasking when solving problems. Each task deserves undivided attention. Writing enhances clarity. Thoughts often feel organized internally but scatter externally. Putting ideas on paper organizes connections, exposes gaps, and reveals patterns. Diagrams, lists, and notes are not trivial. They allow the mind to see relationships clearly and reduce cognitive load. This external structure supports internal clarity. Reflection strengthens insight. After gathering information and exploring options, pause. Consider consequences, alternatives, and assumptions. Focused thinking is iterative. Initial impressions are rarely complete. Revisiting ideas improves accuracy and reduces bias. Reflection prevents impulsive solutions and fosters deliberate action. Focused thinking requires emotional control. Strong emotions narrow perception and distort judgment. Anxiety exaggerates problems. Anger clouds reasoning. Calm the mind before analyzing. Breathing, brief pauses, or mental grounding can restore balance. Clarity is impossible when the mind reacts impulsively to stimuli. Simplification supports problem solving. Complex challenges often appear insurmountable because they are approached in their entirety. Reduce problems to core elements. Focus on what can be influenced now. Simplifying does not ignore detail. It prioritizes action over distraction. Clear thought emerges from minimal yet sufficient information. Practice improves speed and accuracy. Initially, focused thinking may feel slow. This is natural. The brain learns to resist distraction, hold attention, and process systematically. Over time, clarity becomes habitual. The mind becomes confident in handling uncertainty and complexity without panic. Review past solutions to refine approach. Learning from previous problem-solving enhances mental models. Recognize what strategies produced clarity and what created confusion. Adjust techniques accordingly. Focused thinking is cumulative. Experience trains the mind to detect patterns and anticipate challenges more effectively. Rest and recovery support clarity. Mental fatigue reduces concentration and increases errors. Protect attention by balancing effort with periods of disengagement. Clear thought cannot be forced indefinitely. Regular breaks, sleep, and relaxation preserve cognitive capacity for meaningful problem solving. Focused thinking benefits from curiosity. A desire to understand rather than to react encourages exploration. Curiosity reduces bias, encourages multiple perspectives, and uncovers hidden information. Questions driven by curiosity lead to deeper understanding than assumptions driven by urgency. Decision follows clarity. Focused thinking does not end with analysis. It transitions to action. Once understanding is sufficient, choose a solution deliberately and implement it. Delay beyond clarity often produces doubt. Confidence grows when analysis is complete and action is consistent. Clarity improves communication. When the mind understands the problem and solution, explanations are precise. Others can comprehend and support action. Miscommunication often originates from unclear thought. By prioritizing clarity internally, clarity manifests externally. Focused thinking is strengthened over time. Regular practice on small decisions, daily problems, and ongoing challenges develops mental stamina. Each opportunity to apply concentrated thought builds skill. The brain adapts to handle complexity without overload. Clarity becomes the default rather than the exception. A life guided by focused thinking solves problems efficiently and calmly. Challenges are met with attention, reflection, and structured analysis rather than stress and improvisation. Mental energy is preserved, and solutions are reliable. Focused thought transforms obstacles into manageable steps and uncertainty into actionable insight. Chapter 11. Build supportive relationships that encourage growth, accountability, and honesty. Human beings are social creatures, and the quality of relationships in life profoundly shapes growth, resilience, and fulfillment. No one succeeds in isolation. The people you surround yourself with influence habits, mindset, motivation, and even the perception of possibility. Supportive relationships are not casual friendships or superficial connections. They are deliberate bonds built on trust, accountability, honesty, and mutual encouragement. These relationships accelerate growth by providing guidance, reflection, and challenge, while discouraging stagnation and negative reinforcement. The first step in cultivating supportive relationships is awareness of influence. Not all relationships serve growth. Some encourage complacency, distraction, or unhealthy habits. Awareness means observing how each person affects energy, focus, and motivation. A supportive person lifts confidence and inspires action. A draining person saps energy and diminishes initiative. Choosing who to invest time in is an act of self-respect and strategy. Trust forms the foundation of meaningful relationships. Without trust, accountability and honesty cannot thrive. Trust is earned and reinforced through consistent behavior, reliability, and integrity. It is reciprocated. When trust exists, difficult conversations are possible without fear. Critique is seen as guidance, not attack. Feedback is received openly, which is essential for personal and professional development. Honesty is critical. Growth cannot occur when people hide their true thoughts, sugarcoat feedback, or avoid difficult discussions. Honest relationships provide clarity, reveal blind spots, and encourage reflection. Practicing honesty yourself sets a standard. Speaking truth with respect strengthens bonds and reinforces accountability. Avoiding difficult truths preserves comfort but limits progress. Accountability ensures action follows intention. Ideas and goals without follow-through remain unfulfilled. Supportive relationships include mechanisms for accountability. Partners, mentors, or peers check progress, encourage persistence, and ask difficult questions when complacency appears. Accountability is not judgment. It is alignment between intention and behavior, supported by observation and guidance. Mutual respect allows growth without conflict. It is possible to challenge someone's decisions without attacking character. Encouraging growth requires boundaries. Each person maintains autonomy while benefiting from the perspective of others. Healthy relationships balance support with freedom, creating an environment where people take responsibility rather than rely entirely on external direction. Selecting relationships consciously is a proactive step. Surrounding yourself with individuals who model the values, discipline, and resilience you aspire to cultivate provides implicit training. Observing behavior, learning strategies, and sharing experiences accelerate development. Influence is contagious. Positive habits are reinforced when mirrored in trusted peers. Communication is the lifeblood of supportive relationships. Expressing needs, goals, and limitations clearly prevents misunderstanding and ensures collaboration. Listening actively demonstrates respect and reinforces trust. Relationships flourish when both parties feel heard and understood, which creates a platform for honest dialogue and constructive feedback. Growth-oriented relationships embrace challenge. Comfort alone does not lead to improvement. People who encourage growth prompt reflection, push boundaries, and inspire experimentation. They celebrate successes but also address areas for development. Growth is uncomfortable by design, and supportive relationships make that discomfort manageable. Boundaries protect both parties. Support does not require sacrificing personal standards or tolerating toxic behavior. Healthy relationships operate within limits that preserve respect, energy, and integrity. Clear boundaries allow honest feedback without resentment or avoidance. They ensure that accountability is constructive rather than punitive. Consistency strengthens relationships over time. Sporadic contact or inconsistent engagement reduces trust and diminishes influence. Regular interaction, follow-up, and mutual support reinforce connection. Reliable patterns of communication and collaboration build stability, which is essential for sustained growth. Shared values enhance alignment. While differences enrich perspectives, core values anchor the relationship. Values such as integrity, curiosity, diligence, and respect create a common framework. This alignment allows honest conversations without misunderstanding or misalignment of priorities. Supportive relationships also teach humility. Accepting guidance and critique requires a willingness to learn and acknowledge imperfection. Humility fosters receptiveness to advice, reflection, and adaptation. Overconfidence or defensiveness undermines progress and strains connections. Celebrating achievements reinforces positive behavior. Recognition and encouragement validate effort and strengthen motivation. Supportive relationships balance critique with acknowledgement. Constructive feedback paired with genuine recognition builds confidence and encourages continued improvement. Building relationships intentionally requires effort. It means identifying people aligned with growth, investing time, and maintaining integrity in interactions. It also requires letting go of connections that no longer support development. Detachment is not rejection of the person, but prioritization of mutual progress. Mentorship plays a significant role. Learning from someone with experience reduces trial and error. Mentors provide perspective, challenge assumptions, and model discipline. Likewise, serving as a mentor reinforces accountability and insight, creating a reciprocal system of growth. Conflict, when handled with respect, strengthens relationships. Avoiding all disagreements limits growth and honest communication. Address issues with clarity and composure. Focus on understanding and resolution rather than winning. Conflict managed well enhances trust and fosters mutual learning. Supportive relationships require authenticity. Pretending or performing diminishes connection and reduces the effectiveness of guidance. Present yourself honestly. Share successes and struggles. Authentic engagement deepens trust and accelerates personal growth for both parties. Time invested in nurturing supportive relationships pays compounding returns. Each conversation, shared experience, and collaborative challenge builds resilience, wisdom, and skill. Over time, these connections form a network that sustains effort, enhances clarity, and encourages accountability across all areas of life. Ultimately, building supportive relationships is a deliberate practice. It requires awareness, honesty, trust, communication, and consistency. These relationships amplify potential, challenge limitations, and guide decisions. They create an environment where growth is expected, accountability is natural, and honesty is embraced. A life enriched by such connections moves forward with clarity, purpose, and resilience. Chapter 12 is strengthen self-awareness by tracking habits, thoughts, and results. Self-awareness is the foundation of growth, clarity, and personal mastery. Without it, actions are reactive, habits remain unconscious, and progress becomes inconsistent. Most people live life on autopilot, unaware of how daily routines, thoughts, and patterns shape results. Strengthening self-awareness transforms this approach, turning observation into insight and insight into deliberate action. It allows you to recognize behaviors that support your goals and identify those that impede progress. Awareness is not passive, it is active attention applied consistently over time. The first step in developing self-awareness is observation. You cannot improve what you do not notice. This involves paying attention to daily habits, thought patterns, emotional reactions, and outcomes. Observation is honest and non-judgmental. It is not about criticism but about understanding. By noticing how energy, focus, and emotion fluctuate across the day, you gather data that informs decisions. Tracking habits provides concrete feedback. Habits are repeated actions that often operate unconsciously. Some reinforce growth while others undermine it. Writing down routines, logging behaviors, or using habit trackers reveals patterns. These patterns show where energy is well invested and where it is wasted. Once identified, habits can be adjusted, removed, or strengthened with intention. Thoughts influence perception and action. Tracking recurring thoughts exposes mental tendencies, biases, and triggers. Do negative thoughts dominate mornings or evenings? Do doubts appear before important tasks? Are affirmations or encouraging self-talk consistent? Recording these observations allows reflection and adjustment. Understanding thought patterns provides control over emotional responses and decision-making. Monitoring results creates accountability. Without measuring outcomes, effort may go unrecognized or misdirected. Self-awareness requires connecting behaviors to results. Which actions produce meaningful progress, which do not. Results tracking highlights effectiveness and inefficiency, guiding improvement. This connection encourages repetition of productive behaviors and reduction of harmful ones. Patterns emerge over time. Daily tracking may feel tedious initially, but consistency produces clarity. Trends reveal cycles of performance, moments of high focus, and periods of distraction or fatigue. These insights inform strategy. For example, scheduling demanding tasks when focus is highest increases efficiency. Avoiding low-energy periods for important work reduces frustration and wasted effort. Self-reflection complements tracking. Reviewing habits, thoughts, and results regularly deepens understanding. Reflection turns data into insight. Ask what decisions, behaviors, or mental patterns contributed to success. Consider what blocked progress or caused stagnation. This process reinforces learning and ensures improvement is deliberate rather than random. Emotional tracking is equally important. Awareness of emotional reactions helps identify triggers and patterns that influence behavior. Anger, frustration, or anxiety often accompany ineffective choices. By recognizing these states, you gain the ability to pause and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Emotional insight reduces wasted energy and prevents repeated mistakes. Self-awareness requires honesty. Observations are only valuable when truthful. Avoid rationalizing or excusing habits that hinder growth. Confronting uncomfortable truths about behavior is necessary for meaningful change. This discipline strengthens character and improves judgment. Journaling is a practical tool for developing self-awareness. Writing daily observations, thoughts, and results externalizes mental activity. This reduces cognitive clutter and enhances clarity. Journals become a record of progress, revealing improvement, setbacks, and emerging patterns over time. Writing encourages intentionality in decision-making and habit formation. Small, consistent adjustments compound. Awareness alone is insufficient without action. Once a pattern is observed, implement deliberate changes. Adjust timing, intensity, or frequency of habits. Replace negative mental patterns with constructive ones. Test modifications and observe the outcomes. This cycle of tracking, reflection, and adjustment gradually strengthens self-discipline and personal effectiveness. Feedback from others also informs self-awareness. Trusted mentors, peers, or friends can offer perspectives blind to personal observation. External feedback highlights patterns you may overlook and reinforces accountability. Engaging with honest, supportive feedback accelerates learning. Self-awareness enhances decision-making. When habits, thoughts, and results are tracked, choices are informed by real data rather than assumptions or impulse. Awareness creates clarity in prioritization, task execution, and goal alignment. Decisions become deliberate, reducing wasted effort and minimizing regret. Tracking fosters motivation. Visible progress, no matter how small, reinforces persistence. Observing patterns of improvement boosts confidence and encourages continued effort. Conversely, identifying consistent obstacles motivates problem-solving and innovation. Awareness converts abstract goals into concrete steps and measurable progress. Consistency strengthens self-awareness. Sporadic attention provides incomplete insight. Daily tracking, reflection, and evaluation build a cumulative understanding of personal tendencies. Over time, the mind becomes more attuned to internal signals, requiring less external tracking. Awareness becomes intuitive, guiding decisions naturally. Self-awareness also enhances resilience. Recognizing how the mind and body respond to stress, challenge, or pressure allows proactive coping strategies. Habits, thoughts, and results reveal vulnerabilities and strengths. Awareness enables preparation, adaptation, and recovery, strengthening overall capacity to handle obstacles. The practice of self-awareness cultivates intentional living. Actions are chosen, not automatic. Thoughts are evaluated rather than accepted uncritically. Results are connected to effort and strategy. Life becomes an observable system rather than a series of uncontrolled events. Awareness transforms chaos into understanding and intention. Ultimately, strengthening self-awareness through consistent tracking of habits, thoughts, and results empowers deliberate improvement. It creates a feedback loop of observation, reflection, adjustment, and learning. Daily attention to behavior and outcomes sharpens insight, strengthens discipline, enhances emotional regulation, and increases effectiveness. A life guided by awareness is a life lived with clarity, control, and purposeful momentum. Chapter 13T. Commit to lifelong learning through reading, practice, and feedback. Lifelong learning is the engine that drives continuous growth, adaptability, and personal evolution. Life does not stand still, and neither should knowledge. Skills, ideas, and opportunities change constantly, and the individuals who thrive are those committed to continual expansion of understanding and capability. Learning is not confined to formal education or short-term training. It is an ongoing, deliberate practice that integrates reading, reflection, practical application, and feedback. Those who embrace lifelong learning build mental agility, increase resilience, and maintain relevance in every aspect of life. Reading is a cornerstone of learning. It exposes the mind to new ideas, perspectives, and experiences beyond immediate reality. Reading widely enhances creativity, expands understanding of human behavior, and informs decision-making. It is not necessary to read everything. Focus on material that challenges thinking, teaches skills, or inspires action. The key is consistency and depth, not volume. Engaging actively with what is read, questioning, summarizing, and applying concepts, transforms information into understanding. Practice is essential. Knowledge alone is insufficient without application. Reading generates ideas, but practice translates those ideas into skill. Daily practice, even in small increments, solidifies learning. Repetition strengthens memory, builds competence, and creates confidence. Mistakes during practice are opportunities for insight rather than failures. They reveal gaps and provide a roadmap for improvement. Continuous application ensures that learning is not abstract, but integrated into action. Feedback accelerates development. External perspectives identify blind spots, correct misunderstandings, and reinforce progress. Seeking feedback requires humility and openness. Constructive criticism can feel uncomfortable, but it is invaluable for refinement. Feedback can come from mentors, peers, teachers, or the results of actions themselves. A mindset that welcomes feedback transforms obstacles into opportunities and fosters a culture of growth within oneself. Curiosity fuels lifelong learning. A curious mind asks questions, explores alternatives, and seeks understanding beyond the surface. Curiosity resists complacency and challenges assumptions. It turns every experience into a potential lesson. Cultivating curiosity requires attentive observation and a willingness to explore unfamiliar territory. The habit of asking why and how stimulates thought and uncovers deeper insight. Consistency is more important than intensity. Sporadic bursts of learning provide temporary stimulation but do not create lasting change. Daily commitment, even in small measures, compounds into significant knowledge and capability over time. Setting aside time each day for reading, skill practice, or reflection ensures progress, regardless of external circumstances. Over months and years, these small investments accumulate into profound expertise and wisdom. Reflection bridges learning and action. It allows lessons to integrate into understanding. After reading, practicing, or receiving feedback, take time to consider how the information applies to current goals, challenges, or decisions. Reflection consolidates learning, identifies patterns, and informs future behavior. Without reflection, knowledge risks remaining fragmented and disconnected from practical life. Learning is adaptive. The world evolves, and strategies or skills that worked in the past may no longer be optimal. Committing to lifelong learning ensures relevance. It allows adjustment to changing conditions, adoption of new technologies, and the cultivation of skills required for emerging opportunities. Adaptability is a direct outcome of consistent learning, making it a protective and empowering practice. Mentorship complements self-directed learning. Experienced individuals can provide guidance, demonstrate strategies, and accelerate understanding. Engaging with mentors requires active listening, humility, and the willingness to act on advice. The mentor-mentee relationship amplifies learning by combining experience with curiosity, reflection, and feedback. Learning from those who have navigated challenges successfully reduces unnecessary trial and error. Failure is an inevitable part of growth and learning. A mindset committed to lifelong learning treats failure as data rather than judgment. Each setback provides insight into what works, what does not, and what can be improved. Those who embrace failure as feedback learn faster, make better decisions, and refine their skills continuously. Resilience is strengthened when failure is interpreted as an opportunity rather than a defeat. Learning is most effective when aligned with personal purpose and goals. Skills and knowledge gained should serve meaningful objectives. Focused learning amplifies motivation and ensures that energy is invested wisely. Random accumulation of information has limited impact. Intentional learning connects knowledge to action and growth, producing tangible results. Reading, practice, and feedback interact synergistically. Reading provides ideas, practice translates ideas into skill, and feedback corrects and refines the process. Ignoring any one of these elements weakens the learning cycle. A disciplined approach integrates all three to maximize growth, reinforce understanding, and ensure continuous improvement. Self-discipline is essential for maintaining a commitment to lifelong learning. Distractions, comfort, and competing priorities often undermine consistency. Establishing routines, setting time for study, practice, and reflection, and holding oneself accountable ensures that learning remains active and effective. Discipline turns intention into reality. Lifelong learning fosters mental flexibility. Exposure to diverse perspectives, continuous skill development, and regular reflection expand the ability to adapt thinking to new situations. Mental flexibility enables creative problem-solving, better decision-making, and increased confidence in unfamiliar contexts. It strengthens both personal and professional effectiveness. Knowledge without application stagnates. Learning is fully realized when it informs decisions, influences habits, and enhances skill. Every lesson read, every practice session completed, and every piece of feedback received should produce change in behavior or understanding. Integration transforms information into practical wisdom that shapes life intentionally. The pursuit of lifelong learning enhances self-efficacy. Confidence grows as competence increases. Repeated engagement with new challenges, mastery of skills, and implementation of knowledge strengthens belief in one's ability to influence outcomes. This creates a positive cycle. Learning builds confidence, which encourages further learning, producing continued growth. A life committed to learning is resilient to change and uncertainty. Knowledge and skill provide options and strategies when circumstances shift. Continuous learning reduces fear of the unknown, empowers informed decision-making, and strengthens adaptability. Individuals who learn consistently are less dependent on external conditions and more capable of shaping their own paths. Ultimately, committing to lifelong learning through reading, practice, and feedback is a deliberate choice to grow continuously. It is an investment in capability, perspective, and resilience. Daily engagement, reflection, and application turn knowledge into wisdom, ideas into skill, and curiosity into action. Lifelong learning transforms potential into reality, enabling a life of purpose, competence, and meaningful achievement. Chapter 14. Act decisively despite fear, doubt, and imperfect conditions. Action is the bridge between intention and results, yet many hesitate because conditions feel imperfect or fear clouds judgment. Waiting for the perfect moment or complete certainty often leads to stagnation. Life is inherently uncertain, and circumstances rarely align perfectly. Decisions delayed in pursuit of ideal conditions are opportunities lost. Acting decisively requires courage, clarity, and a willingness to move forward even when doubt exists. Decisive action is not recklessness. It is informed effort applied with commitment, adapting as feedback arrives. Progress favors those willing to engage despite fear, uncertainty, or incomplete information. Fear is natural. It signals risk and prompts caution, but unchecked it becomes immobilizing. Recognizing fear without surrendering to it allows action to continue. Courage does not eliminate fear, it operates alongside it. The mind often overestimates danger or magnifies potential failure. Distinguishing real obstacles from imagined ones reduces hesitation and clarifies next steps. Acting decisively involves acknowledging fear, analyzing risk, and proceeding with intention. Doubt challenges clarity. It arises from questioning ability, potential outcomes, or the right course of action. While reflection is valuable, over-analysis creates paralysis. Decisive action balances thought with execution. Gathering sufficient information for an informed decision is important, but obsessing over every variable delays progress. Accepting that not all outcomes can be controlled allows movement even when uncertainty exists. Imperfect conditions are the rule, not the exception. Resources, information, or support may be incomplete. Waiting for ideal alignment is impractical. Successful individuals recognize that progress often begins under less than ideal circumstances. Adaptation and problem-solving occur during execution. Acting in imperfect conditions teaches flexibility, resilience, and resourcefulness. It produces results that can be refined rather than waiting for conditions that may never arrive. Preparation enhances decisive action. Planning reduces risk and increases confidence, but it is not a substitute for movement. Consider goals, potential outcomes, and immediate next steps. Preparation establishes direction, while action converts direction into results. Decisions are tested and adjusted in practice, not only in theory. Each action taken generates feedback, which informs subsequent choices and strengthens skill. Clarity of purpose fuels decisive behavior. Knowing what matters most allows decisions to align with priorities. When objectives are clear, action becomes focused and intentional rather than reactive. Purpose provides a compass amid uncertainty, enabling movement even when fear or doubt arises. Without clarity, hesitation multiplies and indecision dominates. Action develops momentum. The first step often feels most difficult. Once initiated, progress becomes tangible. Decisive behavior reinforces confidence and reduces future hesitation. Momentum compounds over time, producing larger outcomes than initial effort might suggest. Movement clarifies direction, highlights obstacles, and reveals opportunities that were invisible while standing still. Risk assessment is part of decisive action. Understanding potential consequences enables informed decisions while maintaining forward movement. Evaluate what can go wrong, what is reversible, and what adjustments are possible. Fear often exaggerates low probability risks. Acting decisively requires realistic evaluation without allowing caution to become paralysis. A measured approach balances urgency with prudence. Decisive action strengthens resilience. Each experience builds capacity to face uncertainty, tolerate discomfort, and navigate challenges. Hesitation erodes confidence over time, while consistent action under difficult conditions reinforces self-efficacy. Experience teaches that imperfection in conditions rarely prevents meaningful outcomes. Action itself produces learning that theory cannot replicate. Commitment to action requires prioritization. Focus energy on decisions that matter most and produce meaningful progress. Attempting to act on everything at once diffuses effort and increases doubt. Prioritize choices that move toward defined goals, and execute with attention and resolve. Incremental action produces consistent momentum, even in challenging circumstances. Confidence grows with practice. Decisive individuals are not fearless, they have practiced action despite fear and doubt repeatedly. Each successful step, small or large, reinforces the ability to trust judgment and act in uncertainty. Experience teaches that waiting rarely produces certainty, but acting often produces results and insight. Feedback guides refinement. Acting decisively does not imply rigid persistence. Observe results, adjust strategy, and continue forward. Action without reflection risks repetition of mistakes. Combining decisiveness with responsiveness creates an iterative process that maximizes effectiveness despite imperfect circumstances. Discomfort signals growth. Acting when conditions are uncomfortable or uncertain cultivates skill, character, and insight. Avoiding discomfort limits potential. Decisive behavior embraces challenge rather than escaping it. Facing fear and doubt directly strengthens resolve and expands capability. Growth occurs in the space where comfort ends and action begins. Visualization and mental rehearsal support decisive action. Anticipating steps, obstacles, and responses prepares the mind for execution. Mental simulation reduces uncertainty and increases readiness, but it must be followed by real movement. Planning and reflection without action produce preparation, not progress. Combining visualization with immediate steps strengthens both confidence and competence. Time is an ally in action. Delaying decisions often magnifies fear and complicates circumstances. Acting promptly under realistic conditions preserves opportunity. Time spent overthinking rarely adds clarity. Movement generates insight and reveals practical solutions more efficiently than prolonged hesitation. Decisive action encourages accountability. Making choices despite uncertainty requires ownership of outcomes. Taking responsibility reinforces learning, strengthens confidence, and builds self-discipline. Hesitation often deflects accountability to circumstances or others. Engaging directly with action embeds responsibility into growth and achievement. Decisive action requires simplicity. Focus on immediate next steps rather than the entire path. Breaking larger challenges into manageable components reduces overwhelm and enhances confidence. Each step completed builds clarity and capability, while inertia diminishes as movement continues. Action generates clarity more reliably than extended contemplation. Ultimately, acting decisively despite fear, doubt, and imperfect conditions transforms potential into reality. Fear becomes a signal rather than a barrier. Doubt becomes a tool for reflection rather than a roadblock. Imperfect conditions become the training ground for skill, resilience, and adaptation. Progress is measured not by ideal circumstances but by consistent, intentional action taken with courage and purpose. Individuals who embrace decisiveness under uncertainty move forward steadily, produce results, and develop the confidence to navigate increasingly complex challenges with clarity and strength. Chapter 15Z Simplify life by removing excess obligations and mental clutter. Life is filled with countless demands, responsibilities, and mental distractions that slowly erode focus, energy, and clarity. Excess obligations accumulate silently, leaving little room for meaningful effort or deliberate action. Mental clutter, overthinking, unresolved concerns, and constant information streams distracts from what truly matters. Simplifying life is not about escaping responsibilities or avoiding challenges. It is about creating space for intention, clarity, and purposeful energy. By removing unnecessary burdens and clearing the mind, focus and productivity naturally increase, allowing deliberate action to flourish. The first step in simplification is assessment. Observe all areas of life and identify what consumes time, attention, or energy without producing meaningful outcomes. Not all obligations are equal. Some support growth, relationships, or well-being, while others drain resources without lasting value. Awareness of these distinctions creates the foundation for intentional removal or delegation of non-essential tasks. Decision-making clarity follows prioritization. Determine which responsibilities align with long-term goals and core values. Tasks that do not serve these priorities are candidates for elimination or restructuring. Simplification requires courage, because letting go often challenges social expectations, internal habits, or perceived necessity. Evaluating obligations based on alignment rather than tradition or habit ensures focus remains on what matters most. Mental clutter impedes decision-making and reduces energy. Constant exposure to information, notifications, and multitasking overwhelms the mind. Simplifying thought processes requires intentional boundaries. Limit inputs that do not contribute to growth, understanding, or productivity. Silence, reflection, and focus reduce cognitive load and increase efficiency. Regular periods of mental rest restore clarity and prevent overwhelm from accumulating. Delegation is a key strategy. Responsibilities that do not require personal involvement can be transferred to others. Delegating tasks frees time for high-value activities, reduces stress, and improves focus on essential objectives. Trust and clear communication are essential in delegation to ensure responsibilities are completed effectively. Removing obligations through delegation balances efficiency with quality outcomes. Routine refinement enhances simplification. Evaluate daily schedules and eliminate redundant or non-productive tasks. Consolidate repetitive actions, streamline processes, and focus on high-impact activities. Routine should serve purpose and reduce decision fatigue rather than create unnecessary business. Simplified routines create predictability, reduce stress, and allow mental energy to be directed toward meaningful work. Information management is part of reducing mental clutter. The constant influx of messages, updates, and news fragments attention. Decide which sources are relevant and filter or limit exposure to the rest. Curate content deliberately, focusing on learning, growth, or essential communication. This prevents distraction and preserves mental clarity for priority tasks. Emotional simplification is equally important. Releasing grudges, unresolved conflicts, and self-critical thoughts reduces mental burden. Carrying unnecessary emotional weight diminishes focus and energy. Reflection, forgiveness, and acceptance allow mental space for constructive thought and deliberate action. Emotional clarity amplifies the benefits of physical and mental simplification. Minimalism in possessions supports mental clarity. Physical clutter creates visual and cognitive distractions that impact concentration and efficiency. Organize spaces, remove items not used or valued, and create environments that support focus. Intentional surroundings reinforce mental discipline and allow attention to concentrate on priorities. Simplicity in the external world strengthens internal clarity. Decision simplification improves efficiency. Reducing unnecessary choices conserves energy for critical decisions. Establish routines, standardize minor choices, and eliminate trivial decisions. Clothing, meals, and schedules can follow consistent patterns to reduce mental load. This reserves energy for strategic thinking and meaningful actions that truly impact goals. Time management integrates simplification, Protect blocks of uninterrupted time for priority activities. Avoid overcommitting to meetings, social obligations, or tasks that dilute focus. Time is a finite resource, and deliberate allocation ensures energy is invested in what matters most. Saying no strategically is essential to maintaining simplified and purposeful engagement. Digital simplification is critical in modern life. Notifications, social media, and constant connectivity fragment attention. Limit exposure to non-essential digital input. Establish focused work periods and create clear boundaries for engagement. Digital discipline reduces mental noise and strengthens the capacity for focused thought and intentional action. Simplification encourages intentional goal alignment. By removing excess obligations, energy can concentrate on tasks and projects that advance meaningful objectives. Mental clarity allows reflection on priorities, evaluation of progress, and adjustment of strategies. Goals become actionable and manageable rather than abstract or overwhelming. Focus on quality over quantity. Reducing the number of commitments does not mean doing less with purpose. Instead, fewer obligations are executed with higher quality, attention, and impact. Simplifying life shifts energy from dispersed effort to concentrated achievement, increasing satisfaction and effectiveness. Gradual implementation is sustainable. Simplification is not achieved instantly. It requires repeated evaluation, deliberate elimination, and adjustment of habits. Begin with one area, daily routines, physical spaces, or information intake, and expand gradually. Incremental changes compound, producing lasting clarity and efficiency. Boundaries reinforce simplicity. Clear limits protect time, attention, and energy. Establishing boundaries prevents intrusion from non-essential demands and maintains focus on priorities. Consistent enforcement of boundaries strengthens self-discipline and preserves mental space. Simplifying life enhances resilience. When obligations are intentional and mental clutter minimized, challenges are easier to navigate. Reduced distraction and clearer priorities allow better problem-solving and decision-making under pressure. Simplicity strengthens adaptability and reduces stress in complex or unpredictable circumstances. Intentional simplification fosters freedom. By removing unnecessary tasks, commitments, and distractions, space is created for meaningful work, growth, and personal reflection. This freedom is not avoidance of responsibility but mastery of focus. It allows life to be directed toward chosen objectives rather than reactive business. Ultimately, simplifying life by removing excess obligations and mental clutter creates clarity, focus, and energy. It enables deliberate action, strengthens resilience, and improves effectiveness. The process requires awareness, prioritization, boundaries, and disciplined adjustment. Over time, simplification transforms daily life into a purposeful, manageable, and fulfilling experience where effort is directed toward what truly matters and distractions are minimized. Chapter 660. Build confidence through small wins repeated daily. Confidence is not an abstract trait inherited or suddenly acquired. It is a skill developed through consistent action, reflection, and reinforcement. One of the most reliable ways to build lasting confidence is through small wins repeated daily. These wins may appear minor individually, but their cumulative effect shapes belief in capability, strengthens discipline, and develops momentum. Each accomplishment, no matter how modest, proves that effort leads to results, creating a feedback loop that fuels self-assurance and encourages further action. The process begins with defining achievable, meaningful tasks. Goals must be realistic within the context of current ability, resources, and circumstances. Setting overly ambitious targets often produces discouragement rather than confidence. By focusing on actions that can be completed daily, individuals create a consistent opportunity for success. Small victories serve as tangible evidence that progress is possible and reinforce the perception of competence. Daily repetition is essential. Confidence does not grow from a single success but from the habit of achievement. Completing small, intentional actions every day strengthens self-discipline and reinforces belief in personal capability. Consistency provides measurable proof that effort directly translates into results, establishing trust in one's ability to perform. Over time, these repeated actions create a resilient sense of competence that extends beyond isolated tasks. Acknowledging achievements is equally important. Recognition, whether internal or shared with others, reinforces progress. Each completed task, no matter how minor, is a building block for self-belief. Reflection on accomplishments solidifies the psychological impact of success. Tracking progress through journals, checklists, or simple mental notes enhances awareness of growth and motivates continued effort. Seeing tangible evidence of repeated achievement strengthens conviction in one's potential. Small wins reduce fear of failure. When achievements are approached incrementally, mistakes or setbacks carry less weight. Each completed step demonstrates capability and reduces the psychological barrier to tackling larger challenges. Confidence emerges from repeated experience with competence, not from the absence of error. The process teaches that success is built progressively and resilience grows alongside achievement. Progressive scaling amplifies effect. As confidence strengthens through daily small wins, gradually increasing challenge expands ability. Incremental growth allows mastery without overwhelming anxiety. Confidence becomes flexible and adaptive, extending into new areas without fear of sudden failure. This deliberate expansion of challenge produces both skill and self-assurance simultaneously. Action-oriented focus is central. Confidence is developed through doing, not imagining. Deliberate execution of tasks produces results, provides feedback, and reinforces belief in capability. Planning without action delays growth and undermines confidence. Each day presents opportunities for small, practical accomplishments that cumulatively shape self-perception and reinforce competence. Breaking larger goals into manageable components is critical. Ambitious objectives often seem intimidating, creating hesitation. By identifying discrete actions that contribute to broader aims, each completed step becomes a win. This approach converts overwhelming goals into actionable items, reinforcing the habit of success and continuously validating progress. Clarity in incremental steps reduces anxiety and increases certainty in ability. Accountability enhances the impact of small wins. Sharing progress with mentors, peers, or supportive communities increases commitment to daily action. External observation reinforces self-belief through acknowledgement and recognition. It also encourages adherence to consistent effort, magnifying the psychological benefits of repeated achievement. The presence of accountability strengthens both persistence and confidence simultaneously. Positive reinforcement solidifies gains. Celebrating daily wins reinforces neural patterns associated with success and accomplishment. Recognition of effort and completion strengthens motivation and fosters enthusiasm for continued action. Reinforcement does not require grand gestures. Even internal acknowledgement or brief reflection is sufficient to anchor confidence in repeated achievement. Reflection on patterns of success enhances learning. Observing which actions produce results informs strategy and improves decision-making. Confidence is strengthened when individuals recognize their consistent ability to create outcomes through deliberate effort. Understanding personal strengths and effective methods reinforces belief in future success and empowers proactive problem-solving. Overcoming resistance is part of the process. Daily small wins often require discipline to act despite fatigue, distraction, or hesitation. Each completed task reinforces the mind's ability to prioritize action over inertia. Repetition strengthens self-trust, reduces procrastination, and cultivates a mindset oriented toward consistent effort and tangible achievement. Confidence extends beyond individual tasks when reinforced through small wins. The psychological habit of success carries into new situations, creating a general sense of capability. Past achievements provide evidence that challenges can be met, decisions executed, and objectives completed. Confidence becomes generalized, informing choices, actions, and interactions across multiple domains of life. Resilience develops alongside confidence. Daily wins teach that obstacles can be overcome and that setbacks do not define potential. Experience with incremental achievement produces adaptive strategies and reinforces perseverance. Confidence, therefore, is both proactive and reactive, supporting engagement with challenges and recovery from difficulties. Habits amplify the effect of small wins. Repetition transforms deliberate effort into automatic behavior, reducing cognitive friction and increasing efficiency. Habitual success creates a steady stream of reinforcement, making confidence self-sustaining. The brain associates repeated competence with capability, strengthening the belief that action consistently produces results. Visualization complements action. Mentally rehearsing tasks, envisioning completion, and anticipating the satisfaction of achievement primes behavior for execution. Visualization reinforces motivation, reduces anxiety, and enhances performance. Combining mental preparation with consistent action maximizes the impact of daily wins on confidence. Small wins build momentum. Each success generates energy, motivation, and readiness for subsequent action. Momentum reduces hesitation, accelerates progress, and strengthens belief in personal efficacy. Movement, even incremental, compounds psychologically and practically, producing measurable growth over time. Momentum transforms effort into habit and uncertainty into self-assurance. Confidence achieved through small daily wins is durable. It is not dependent on external validation or rare achievements. It is grounded in evidence of repeated competence, observable progress, and personal experience. This foundation provides resilience against setbacks, criticism, or unforeseen challenges, making confidence stable and adaptable. Ultimately, building confidence through small wins repeated daily is a deliberate practice of habit, reflection, and incremental progress. Each action reinforces capability, each success strengthens belief, and each repetition compounds results. Confidence emerges naturally from consistent execution, growing steadily as effort accumulates. A life structured around achievable daily wins transforms potential into certainty, hesitation into momentum, and uncertainty into unshakable self-assurance. Chapter 17. Measure progress weekly to stay aligned with priorities. Measuring progress consistently is one of the most powerful ways to maintain alignment with priorities and ensure that effort produces meaningful results. Without regular review, actions can drift, energy can be misdirected, and momentum can dissipate. Weekly measurement provides clarity, accountability, and the opportunity to make timely adjustments. It transforms abstract goals into tangible outcomes and ensures that each step taken is purposeful and contributes to larger objectives. A structured approach to evaluating progress creates awareness, reinforces habits, and maintains focus on what truly matters. The first element in effective weekly measurement is setting clear benchmarks. Goals must be defined in a way that allows for objective assessment. Ambiguity hinders understanding of progress and can create the illusion of movement without tangible results. Breaking larger goals into measurable components allows accurate evaluation. Each week becomes a checkpoint to assess whether actions are producing intended outcomes and advancing priorities. Tracking is essential. Recording completed tasks, milestones reached, and challenges encountered provides concrete data. This can be done through journals, spreadsheets, apps, or simple checklists. Consistency in tracking ensures that nothing is overlooked and allows for meaningful comparison over time. By reviewing recorded actions, patterns emerge, highlighting both strengths and areas needing adjustment. Reflection is a critical aspect of weekly measurement. Beyond noting what was done, consider how effectively actions contributed to overarching goals. Analyze which strategies worked well, which failed, and why. Reflection converts raw data into insight, enabling informed decisions for the following week. It deepens understanding of personal tendencies, work rhythms, and effectiveness of methods employed. Prioritization should guide evaluation. Not all completed tasks carry equal value. Assess which actions most significantly advanced key objectives and which consumed energy with minimal impact. Weekly measurement highlights alignment between effort and priorities, revealing whether time and resources are being invested wisely. Adjusting focus based on this evaluation ensures continuous progress toward meaningful goals. Consistency strengthens measurement practices. Weekly evaluation is frequent enough to identify trends and course correct, yet spaced to allow sufficient activity to assess. Regularity develops a habit of accountability and fosters discipline. Missing reviews allows misalignment to persist and makes correction more difficult. Treating weekly measurement as a non-negotiable part of planning reinforces commitment and clarity. Analyzing setbacks is equally important. Challenges, mistakes, or uncompleted tasks are not failures but valuable feedback. Understanding the reasons behind delays or obstacles informs better strategies moving forward. Identifying recurring patterns of inefficiency or distraction enables proactive intervention and prevents repetition. Every challenge encountered provides insight that strengthens future performance. Quantitative and qualitative measures both provide value. Numbers, completion percentages, or tangible milestones provide clear evidence of progress. Qualitative assessment of effort, quality, and effectiveness complements numerical data, ensuring that outcomes reflect meaningful achievement rather than superficial completion. Combining both approaches gives a holistic view of weekly performance. Adjustments are the natural result of measurement. Insights gained from evaluation guide action planning for the following week. Remove or reduce low-impact tasks, reallocate time to high-value activities, and refine strategies that produce desired results. Continuous adjustment based on objective observation maintains momentum and ensures alignment with priorities. Weekly review creates a feedback loop that continuously improves performance. Setting weekly goals enhances the measurement process. Establish targets that are ambitious but achievable within the time frame. These short-term objectives act as practical benchmarks for evaluation. Completing these targets provides immediate feedback, reinforces discipline, and creates a sense of accomplishment. Weekly goals bridge daily effort with long-term ambitions, providing structure and motivation. Accountability reinforces the power of measurement. Sharing progress with a mentor, peer, or accountability partner encourages honesty, commitment, and consistency. External observation adds perspective, identifies blind spots, and motivates sustained action. Reporting progress also strengthens self-discipline and ensures that weekly evaluation is not neglected. Visualization of progress amplifies impact. Seeing milestones achieved, trends improving, or areas refined reinforces belief in capability and reinforces commitment. Graphs, charts, or simple lists provide tangible evidence of advancement and highlight the cumulative effect of consistent effort. Visual tracking enhances awareness, motivation, and clarity. Evaluation of resource utilization is part of effective measurement. Consider how time, energy, and attention were allocated during the week. Identify areas where resources were under or overused relative to priorities. Adjustments in allocation optimize efficiency and maximize progress. Resource management ensures that effort produces the highest possible return relative to objectives. Celebrating weekly wins strengthens habit formation. Recognizing progress, regardless of size, reinforces commitment and builds confidence. Positive reinforcement motivates continued engagement and enhances morale. Acknowledging achievements highlights the value of consistent effort and demonstrates that incremental progress compounds over time. Weekly measurement promotes focus and reduces distraction. By regularly reviewing what is essential, attention is directed toward high-impact activities rather than reactive or superficial tasks. Clarity about what matters most guides decision-making, reduces wasted energy, and strengthens overall effectiveness. Measurement becomes a compass that continuously realigns actions with objectives. Long-term perspective emerges from weekly tracking. While immediate results are important, observing patterns over multiple weeks reveals progress toward larger goals. Trends indicate growth, identify obstacles early, and allow strategic planning. Cumulative analysis ensures that short-term effort aligns with long-term vision and reinforces disciplined execution. Flexibility is enhanced through regular evaluation. Unexpected challenges or shifting circumstances often require adjustment in strategy or priorities. Weekly measurement provides structured opportunities to reassess conditions and respond proactively rather than reactively. Awareness of progress enables informed modification without losing momentum. Self-awareness deepens with measurement. Observing performance, habits, and results weekly illuminates strengths, weaknesses, and personal tendencies. Awareness of how effort translates into outcomes fosters intentionality in future actions and strengthens decision-making. Regular evaluation nurtures growth-oriented habits and reinforces accountability to oneself. Ultimately, measuring progress weekly ensures alignment with priorities, maintains focus, and strengthens consistent action. It creates a structured approach to evaluation, reflection, and adjustment that supports deliberate growth. Regular assessment clarifies direction, reinforces accountability, and empowers informed decision-making. Individuals who practice weekly measurement remain responsive, intentional, and effective, steadily advancing toward meaningful goals with clarity and purpose. Chapter 18 Days Strengthen Purpose by aligning actions with core values. Purpose is the compass that guides meaningful action and gives life direction. Without a clear sense of purpose, effort can become scattered, energy wasted on activities that do not contribute to long-term fulfillment. Strengthening purpose begins with understanding core values, the principles and beliefs that define what is most important. These values serve as a foundation for decision-making, priorities, and daily behavior. Aligning actions with core values transforms routine tasks into purposeful effort, enhances motivation, and fosters resilience even in challenging circumstances. Purpose is not discovered passively. It is developed through deliberate reflection, clarity, and consistent alignment of behavior with what matters most. The first step is identifying core values. Reflect on what principles consistently guide choices, inspire commitment, and bring satisfaction. Consider moments of pride, accomplishment, or fulfillment and determine the underlying values present in those experiences. Values such as integrity, growth, contribution, or courage often emerge when examining meaningful experiences. Awareness of core values provides a framework for evaluating decisions, commitments, and priorities, ensuring alignment with what truly matters. Once core values are defined, evaluate current actions and behaviors against them. Assess whether daily activities, responsibilities, and habits reflect these values. Misalignment creates internal tension, reduces motivation, and diminishes long-term satisfaction. Honest assessment allows recognition of areas where behavior diverges from principles and highlights opportunities for realignment. Purpose is strengthened when action consistently reinforces values rather than contradicting them. Intentional decision-making fosters alignment. Each choice, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to act in accordance with values. Decisions guided by principles create coherence between internal beliefs and external behavior, reinforcing self-trust and confidence. Daily practice of value-based decision-making transforms habitual choices into purposeful action, establishing consistency that supports long-term fulfillment. Prioritization is critical. Time and energy are finite, and allocating resources toward activities that support core values ensures progress toward meaningful objectives. Eliminating or reducing tasks that conflict with values frees space for purposeful engagement. Focused effort on high-value actions strengthens motivation, reduces wasted effort, and enhances overall life satisfaction. Prioritization creates clarity, reduces stress, and reinforces alignment between purpose and behavior. Reflection deepens understanding of purpose. Regular evaluation of actions, outcomes, and experiences reveals whether effort aligns with values and objectives. Reflection identifies successes, challenges, and patterns that inform future choices. It allows for refinement of goals, adjustment of strategies, and reinforcement of meaningful habits. Reflection ensures that purpose is not theoretical, but actively integrated into daily life. Integration of purpose into routines amplifies impact. Incorporate value-driven actions into daily schedules, ensuring that behavior consistently reflects principles. Intentional routines strengthen habits, reduce reliance on willpower, and reinforce alignment between values and effort. Consistent practice produces tangible evidence of purpose in action, cultivating both internal satisfaction and external results. Purpose-driven action enhances resilience. Challenges, setbacks, and uncertainty are inevitable, but alignment with core values provides a stable foundation. When goals and actions reflect deeply held principles, motivation persists despite difficulty. Purpose creates a framework for navigating adversity, guiding decision-making, and maintaining focus under pressure. Resilience emerges naturally from a life rooted in consistent alignment. Clarity of purpose improves decision-making. When values are clear, choices become easier, priorities are evident, and energy is directed toward actions with meaningful impact. Ambiguity dissipates as decisions are filtered through the lens of core principles. Purpose functions as a compass, reducing confusion, hesitation, and distraction, ensuring that behavior remains focused on what truly matters. Contribution enhances purpose. Actions aligned with values often extend beyond personal benefit, creating positive impact in the lives of others. Service, mentorship, collaboration, or creating value for communities reinforces meaning and satisfaction. Recognizing the effect of actions on others strengthens motivation, deepens commitment, and reinforces the sense that life is directed toward significant objectives. Consistency builds credibility and confidence. Repeated actions aligned with values develop integrity and trust, both internally and externally. Self-respect grows when behavior matches principles and others recognize reliability and authenticity. Alignment between values and action produces reinforcement, encouraging continued adherence to principles even when circumstances are difficult. Purpose evolves with growth. As experience expands understanding of self and the world, values may be refined or reprioritized. Regular evaluation ensures that actions remain aligned with current principles and aspirations. Purpose is dynamic, requiring attention and adjustment to remain relevant and compelling. Lifelong alignment fosters adaptability without compromising core integrity. Simplification strengthens purpose. Eliminating obligations, distractions, or habits that do not serve values frees energy for meaningful action. Mental clarity and focus enhance ability to act decisively in alignment with principles. Removing noise allows consistent attention to objectives that reflect true priorities, reinforcing direction and satisfaction. Measurement reinforces alignment. Tracking progress toward goals, observing whether actions reflect values, and recording accomplishments provides tangible evidence of alignment. Measurement highlights successes, identifies gaps, and informs adjustment. Purpose is strengthened when behavior produces observable outcomes consistent with principles, confirming that effort is intentional and effective. Purpose promotes motivation. Action rooted in values engages both mind and emotion. Motivation is sustained by the meaningfulness of activity rather than external rewards or pressure. This intrinsic drive supports consistency, enhances perseverance, and encourages disciplined action. Alignment between purpose and effort ensures that energy is invested in worthwhile pursuits. Reflection on legacy expands purpose. Consider the long-term impact of actions, decisions, and behavior on personal growth and the lives of others. Purpose is reinforced when effort contributes to meaningful outcomes beyond immediate objectives. Awareness of enduring significance amplifies focus, commitment, and satisfaction. Feedback enhances alignment. Observing the effect of actions, receiving input from mentors or peers, and evaluating results provides insight into whether behavior reflects values. Feedback guides refinement, strengthens decision-making, and confirms that daily effort remains connected to purpose. Integrating feedback into reflective practice ensures continuous improvement and alignment. Ultimately, strengthening purpose by aligning actions with core values transforms life into deliberate, meaningful engagement. Values serve as a foundation for priorities, decisions, and behavior. Consistent alignment increases motivation, enhances resilience, and cultivates clarity in action. Purpose becomes both guide and reinforcement, ensuring that energy, effort, and attention consistently advance what truly matters. Individuals who act in accordance with their core principles experience fulfillment, effectiveness, and sustained direction in every aspect of life. Chapter 19a. Maintain consistency by planning tomorrow before today ends. Consistency is the cornerstone of progress, yet it often eludes those who rely solely on willpower or motivation. True consistency emerges when preparation meets intention, and one of the most effective methods to ensure uninterrupted momentum is to plan tomorrow before today ends. By taking time at the close of each day to organize tasks, priorities, and strategies for the following day, you create a framework that guides action from the moment you begin. This practice eliminates uncertainty, reduces wasted time, and strengthens the habit of deliberate effort. Planning tomorrow starts with reflection on today's accomplishments and challenges. Take stock of what was completed, what fell short, and what unexpected obstacles arose. Assess how well actions aligned with priorities and core values, and consider what adjustments are necessary to improve efficiency and effectiveness. Reflection creates awareness of patterns, highlights areas needing focus, and ensures that tomorrow's plan is informed by experience rather than assumption. Identifying priorities is critical in daily planning. Not every task carries equal weight, and clarity about what must be accomplished ensures energy is directed toward high-impact activities. Distinguish between urgent and important tasks, and commit to actions that advance key objectives. Planning tomorrow with priority in mind prevents distraction and ensures that the most meaningful work receives attention first, reinforcing consistency in achieving long-term goals. Breaking the day into structured segments increases control and reduces overwhelm. Allocate time blocks for focused work, rest, and necessary responsibilities. Scheduling in advance provides a clear roadmap for action, limits indecision, and reduces the mental burden of constant planning throughout the day. Consistent structure develops routines that strengthen discipline and increase efficiency in completing tasks. Setting achievable goals for tomorrow creates momentum. Avoid overloading the schedule with excessive tasks that lead to frustration or incomplete work. Select actions that are both important and realistic, providing a balance between ambition and feasibility. Completing planned tasks reinforces confidence, builds habitual accomplishment, and ensures forward movement without burnout or discouragement. Anticipating potential obstacles enhances preparedness. Consider challenges that may arise and outline strategies to navigate them effectively. Planning for disruptions allows flexibility while maintaining commitment to priorities. This foresight reduces anxiety, limits reactive decision-making, and ensures that consistent action continues despite unforeseen circumstances. Preparedness is a hallmark of disciplined execution. Organizing resources and tools the day before improves efficiency. Gather materials, review notes, and ensure that everything needed for planned tasks is ready. Eliminating delays caused by disorganization enhances focus, accelerates progress, and reinforces the habit of preparedness. Resource readiness strengthens the ability to follow through on commitments and maintain momentum throughout the day. Incorporating reflection into planning strengthens self-awareness. Consider how yesterday's actions influence productivity, energy levels, and mindset. Adjust the following day's plan to address inefficiencies, maximize strengths, and reinforce positive habits. This iterative process creates a cycle of continuous improvement, ensuring that each day builds on the progress of the last, solidifying consistency as a natural outcome. Establishing boundaries in planning protects the structure of tomorrow. Decide in advance what will be accepted, postponed, or delegated. Boundaries prevent distractions, overcommitments, and interruptions from derailing momentum. By consciously determining limits and priorities, the day becomes purposeful, predictable, and aligned with long-term objectives, reinforcing the habit of consistent execution. Visualizing the next day enhances commitment. Mentally walk through planned actions, anticipate challenges, and imagine successful completion. Visualization strengthens motivation, prepares the mind for execution, and reinforces confidence in capability. When actions are visualized in advance, the likelihood of follow-through increases, turning intention into tangible results. Daily planning before the day ends reduces decision fatigue. Many small decisions accumulate mental strain and delay action when not preemptively considered. By deciding tasks, priorities, and strategies ahead of time, cognitive energy is preserved for meaningful work. Reduced decision fatigue allows sharper focus, quicker execution, and stronger adherence to consistent routines. Integrating flexibility ensures sustainability. While planning tomorrow is essential, life is unpredictable. Build room for adjustments, buffer periods, and contingency options. Flexibility allows adherence to priorities while accommodating necessary deviations. A structured yet adaptable plan preserves consistency without rigid constraints that lead to frustration or abandonment of goals. Accountability strengthens the habit of planning. Record tasks, commitments, and goals for tomorrow in a visible format. Track completion at the end of the day to measure adherence to the plan. Accountability reinforces discipline, highlights areas for improvement, and provides tangible feedback, ensuring that planning translates into execution rather than remaining a theoretical exercise. Establishing a nightly routine dedicated to planning reinforces consistency. Make reviewing the day and preparing for tomorrow a non-negotiable negotiable habit. This discipline transforms planning into an automatic, expected part of daily life, reducing procrastination and increasing reliability in following through with intended actions. Routine embeds consistency into the structure of living, making it sustainable over time. Planning tomorrow supports energy management. By allocating tasks according to natural productivity cycles, rest periods, and focus levels, effort is maximized and fatigue minimized. Thoughtful scheduling ensures that high-priority work receives peak attention while less demanding tasks are handled when energy wanes. Aligning action with energy cycles strengthens efficiency and enhances sustainable consistency. Small steps compound through repeated planning. Completing planned tasks daily, even modest ones, produces cumulative progress. Regular planning ensures that each day builds on previous achievements, reinforcing forward momentum and creating a trajectory toward long-term goals. Consistency emerges from the accumulation of deliberate, repeated action guided by premeditated intent. Reviewing progress during planning identifies lessons and opportunities. Consider what worked, what could improve, and how to optimize approaches for tomorrow. Learning from experience informs better decisions, strengthens adaptability, and prevents repeated errors. Reflection during planning integrates insight directly into action, reinforcing both efficiency and consistency. Ultimately, maintaining consistency by planning tomorrow before today ends transforms how each day unfolds. Preparation, reflection, and deliberate scheduling create clarity, reduce wasted energy, and align action with priorities. Daily planning fosters discipline, strengthens focus, and builds momentum that compounds over time. Individuals who plan consistently approach each day with intention, confidence, and control, ensuring that effort is continuous, purposeful, and directly aligned with meaningful goals. Chapter 25: Lead your life intentionally through disciplined daily improvement. Leading life intentionally is a conscious choice that separates reactive existence from purposeful living. It requires awareness, clarity, and a commitment to disciplined daily improvement. Life cannot be led by chance, circumstances, or the demands of others. Each day offers opportunities to shape direction, develop character, and make progress toward meaningful goals. By focusing on deliberate, consistent action, individuals transform intentions into tangible outcomes, creating a life that reflects their values, priorities, and aspirations. Discipline is the engine that drives this transformation, and daily improvement is the mechanism through which consistent growth is achieved. Intentional living begins with self-awareness. Understanding one's strengths, weaknesses, motivations, and values provides the foundation for deliberate action. When decisions are informed by clarity about what matters most, choices are purposeful rather than reactionary. Awareness of personal tendencies, habits, and patterns enables conscious intervention in areas that require adjustment or growth. Self-awareness transforms daily actions from automatic responses into informed, deliberate behaviors that reinforce long-term objectives. Discipline is cultivated through consistent routines and habits. Structured daily practices develop reliability and reinforce intentional behavior. Consistency ensures that effort accumulates into meaningful progress, preventing stagnation or drift. Small, disciplined actions compounded over time produce outcomes far beyond isolated efforts. Discipline is not rigid adherence to rules, but the ability to direct effort toward priorities, even in the face of distraction, discomfort, or fatigue. Daily improvement relies on deliberate effort to enhance skills, knowledge, and personal effectiveness. This includes refining habits, learning new techniques, expanding understanding, and optimizing routines. Incremental growth ensures that each day produces measurable advancement toward long-term objectives. Improvement is not dependent on motivation but on deliberate, intentional action executed consistently. Progress is built one day at a time through focused, practical effort. Prioritization is central to intentional leadership of one's life. Time and energy are finite, and allocating them to high-value actions ensures maximum impact. Identify tasks and decisions that contribute directly to goals and values, and minimize engagement with activities that distract or dilute focus. Prioritization requires honesty, discipline, and ongoing evaluation, creating alignment between effort and purpose. Reflection enhances the effectiveness of daily improvement. Reviewing accomplishments, identifying obstacles, and evaluating strategies enables informed adjustments. Reflection transforms experience into insight, guiding better decision-making and reinforcing purposeful action. By integrating reflection into daily or weekly routines, individuals maintain alignment with objectives, recognize progress, and identify areas for refinement. Focus amplifies intentional living, avoiding distractions, managing attention, and concentrating effort on meaningful tasks ensures that time is used efficiently. Intentional focus is an act of discipline, reinforcing the habit of deliberate action. Clarity of mind enables complex problem-solving, creativity, and sustained productivity, ensuring that effort produces maximum value. Goal-setting structures daily improvement. Clear, specific objectives provide direction, measure progress, and motivate sustained action. Goals act as reference points for evaluating performance and making adjustments. By establishing both short-term and long-term goals, individuals create a roadmap that guides decisions, prioritizes tasks, and sustains momentum toward larger aspirations. Learning and adaptation are integral to daily growth. Each day presents experiences that offer lessons, whether through success, failure, or observation. Intentionally analyzing these experiences enables refinement of strategies, enhancement of skills, and avoidance of repeated errors. Growth is accelerated when reflection and learning are embedded in daily routines, transforming ordinary experiences into tools for improvement. Accountability strengthens intentional action. Sharing goals, progress, and challenges with trusted mentors, peers, or communities reinforces discipline and ensures follow-through. External observation provides perspective, motivates sustained effort, and identifies blind spots. Accountability turns abstract intentions into concrete commitments, enhancing the effectiveness of daily improvement. Energy management supports consistent performance. Maintaining physical, mental, and emotional vitality enables sustained focus, resilience, and productivity. Intentional leaders prioritize sleep, nutrition, exercise, and recovery as foundational components of disciplined action. Without energy, even the most deliberate plans cannot be executed effectively. Caring for oneself ensures that effort is sustainable and progress continuous. Decision-making defines the trajectory of intentional living. Thoughtful value-aligned choices shape outcomes and reinforce purpose. Each decision is an opportunity to act deliberately, directing effort toward meaningful results rather than reacting impulsively. Improved decision-making emerges from clarity of values, awareness of priorities, and reflection on past outcomes, ensuring that daily actions are purposeful and effective. Habits compound over time. Daily repetition of intentional actions creates automatic patterns that reinforce discipline, productivity, and alignment with goals. Positive habits reduce reliance on willpower, ensuring that actions remain consistent even under stress or distraction. Structured routines embed improvement into the rhythm of life, transforming deliberate effort into sustained performance. Adaptability ensures continued progress. Life is unpredictable, and circumstances can disrupt even the most carefully planned efforts. Intentional leaders adjust strategies, methods, and priorities without compromising core principles. Flexibility within a disciplined framework ensures that growth remains consistent despite change, obstacles, or unexpected challenges. Mindset influences the effectiveness of intentional living. Cultivating a mindset oriented toward growth, resilience, and proactive engagement strengthens the ability to act decisively, persevere through setbacks, and embrace continuous improvement. Attitude shapes perception, motivation, and response to challenges, reinforcing the impact of deliberate action over time. Tracking progress maintains accountability and awareness. Recording accomplishments, evaluating outcomes, and monitoring alignment with goals provide feedback that reinforces discipline. Data-driven reflection highlights successes, identifies inefficiencies, and informs strategic adjustments. Awareness of progress strengthens confidence, motivation, and consistency in daily improvement practices. Consistency in small, deliberate actions produces long-term transformation. Leading life intentionally is not achieved through sporadic bursts of effort, but through continuous application of focused improvement. Each day represents an opportunity to advance skills, deepen understanding, and reinforce alignment with priorities. The cumulative effect of disciplined daily effort is powerful, producing outcomes far beyond initial expectations. Purpose anchors intentional living. Actions aligned with values and long-term objectives ensure that effort is meaningful and fulfilling. Purpose provides motivation, resilience, and clarity, guiding daily decisions and sustaining commitment even under difficulty. Intentional leaders live according to principles, ensuring that every choice and action contributes to a coherent, purposeful life trajectory. Ultimately, leading life intentionally through disciplined daily improvement transforms potential into action, goals into achievement, and intentions into results. It requires clarity, awareness, focus, and deliberate repetition of purposeful behaviors. By committing to continuous growth, reflecting on outcomes, and adjusting strategies, individuals take control of their lives rather than being controlled by circumstance. Daily discipline is the vehicle through which intentional living is realized, creating a life characterized by consistent progress, meaningful achievement, and enduring fulfillment.